Sure. Oh, okay, discussion. Okay. Are you together? Sir? Okay, Zeitzman? Zeitzman, excuse me. Okay, together? Okay, gentlemen here? Okay, so Monkston? That's the name? Okay. You're together? Yeah. Okay, sir? $941. Do we have, is it nine? So what's the full address? Were you on the agenda for tonight? You definitely were? Okay. And what's the name? Can you just come up real quick? Because I don't have you on the agenda. So what happened is it seems like they told you you should attend, but it doesn't look like you actually told them you were coming. So you didn't get put on the agenda. So since you're here, put you on as a walk-in. So I'm going to put you as a discussion because we have to technically publish these things. So I'm going to put you 9:39. We could discuss what happened. I don't know if you made any.
They redesigned it.
Oh, so it's actually been redesigned.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. He's got it.
Okay. Very interesting.
Carla, just when you're ready and we'll get going.
I'm ready.
You ready?
Yeah.
You sure? Okay. Do we have the microphone, the recorder? No, no. It's an actual tape recorder that we usually use too. No? Hello, how are you? Are you on the agenda tonight? Selva? Adam. Okay, for Gates? Okay, just have a seat, please. I mean, it's, yeah, I mean, we do, but she usually has that little tape recorder too thing. So. All right, so good evening, everyone. Let's get started so we can all go home and pack our houses up. This is the planning board meeting for the Village of Biscayne Park for Monday, September 27th, or Tuesday, September 27th, 2022. It is now 6:32. I'll do the roll call. Edward Leyva.
Here.
Scarlett Hammonds.
Here.
Gage Hartung, I'm here, as well as Raphael from the building department, and our village manager is here too. We'll go with the residents that are here. We also have 2 walk-ons. I know we have a big agenda, but they are here. And Lafferty will make B, and then Gubitz will make C, and we'll get to those in a second. First will be old business B, Zeitzman, 860 Northeast 115th Street for paint. How are you? If we have any questions, we're going to need you to go up to the microphone, but I think it's pretty self-explanatory. One of the things is that with the scanning it and not having the actual samples, it was very hard to tell what actually was the color. So it's kind of a, have you seen this? Maybe pass it down. Kind of a light gray with white trim and a gray on the planter, right? If you look, the planter is really tiny. So, and what about the bricks on each side of the window? They'll be white too? Okay.
Trim is just like the little dentals below the roof tiles that we mean by trim. For the darker gray that's identified as the trim color.
No, it's just the planter below the planter below.
So both of those grays are for the plant.
No, is this like an extra gray or something?
Yeah. To the left. There's just 2 colors. Okay, because there's 3. Yeah, no, there's 3 chips. That's why I'm
Oh,
asking.
there's just a third trip. We're not sure what, I think he's asking about that.
Yeah.
Are these the same?
They probably are.
Okay.
We didn't put them on.
Okay. They look kind of similar.
Yeah,
You're
I
this
think
and
they're the
this.
same.
Okay.
Oh, we did it with this one and then this
I was
one.
like, okay, sounds good.
Oh.
Your name.
Got it. Okay. So,
Oh. I didn't know.
so, and it's the light gray is on the wall, the white, the
Yeah,
rafters are white.
Yeah.
And it's just the planter underneath.
yeah,
the-
Okay, that's
understood.
totally my fault.
I'll take a motion.
Motion to approve.
David Gruen is here, by the way. He's joined the meeting and he just seconded the motion. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay. Sir, are you on the agenda tonight? The name? One, Lake, okay. Actually, you're gonna be next. I'm going by the agenda, folks. Lake 926 Northeast 109th Street, tile front porch. It's just like a neutral kind of, terracotta looking porcelain tile. It's actually porcelain.
No, I think it's nice.
Okay. Take it.
Yeah,
Huh?
Motion to.
Motion Scarlett.
Second.
Ed, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay. You're good. You shouldn't even take your jacket off. All right, next would be Building F, Sarah, 985 Northeast 116th Street for gates.
No, we just. whoever's in the room.
It's only you seconded the first item.
Is there a survey for this house, Sarah? No, okay. Okay. Yeah, it's just that we don't have any idea where, I mean, your little drawing shows it, but we have no idea where they're actually going. Usually there's a survey submitted with the application, denoting on the property where they're going. Is it? Is this a solid door or what is this open? What exactly is the design there? Good. So we are gonna need a requirement for a survey, even if it's 25 years old, because we have to show it, but if it's going in the location of the existing, we could possibly take a motion based on approval, but they have to submit the survey.
So, motion to
Yeah,
pending
just
survey.
question. I'm not sure I understand like the graphic design of the gate. Like, so the actual gate where you have these diagonal braces, that's open, like visible through, or it's just an applied piece?
It's like you're doing the wood, but then you're putting the design on the
Yeah.
front of it. So you almost like should have
Solid.
had like a few like slats like that to show us. 'Cause it does kind of read like it's.
Yeah.
It's 6 foot high, yes, and it's wood. You'll need to get you'll need to submit a color of like the color you want to stain it. So that's an easy thing, just, submit the color to SB. Was that a motion, David?
Yes, motion to approve pending survey.
Okay. I'll take a second, Ed. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, so the motion is approved, but you have to submit the survey prior to getting the permit. Yeah, and you just have to make a copy of what the survey you have and just highlight exactly where you want it. Okay, you're all good, but we just need to have it in the record, please. Thank you. You too. So you got that as amended? You have the amended? Next will be building B Park 2 LLC 1015 Northeast on 14th Street for demo plan. So I thought this was already done because we gave you a fence permit and we gave you a building permit for this property. So there, you should have already had a fence, the construction fence already approved. So yeah, I just thought they were all approved at the same time, so we can now.
Okay.
Well,
Yes, so,
well,
so we approved we basically did everything except for the first part. Right, but you need to have the fence, the temporary fence in order to do the demo, but then we did the third part.
I don't understand. We did the building permit. He
Yeah.
Came in multiple times. We met with him.
Yeah.
And then I thought he applied for a demo and for a fence.
That's what I'm saying, so
So now they're asking for a demo again.
so yeah, so what I'm saying is that we approved the building permit and we approved the fence. We just, when they put those two together, they didn't have demo with it. So if we already approved the building permit. fence,
Well, there are three separate permits, so there's three separate things you have to apply for.
I know, but I'm saying, so can we motion to?
No, we can move it forward. I'm just saying that I thought we already did this.
Oh, yeah.
This was already taken care of, but if we want to make a motion to approve it,
I have a question though. Didn't we come up with some checklist items for them for a demo permit that Manny had?
but I don't know if we've actually moved that forward.
Yeah, that's my
It
question.
hasn't happened yet.
But is it not official?
Yeah.
Okay.
So David, is that a motion? to-
Yes, a motion to approve.
Okay.
Second.
Scarlett, okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Todo
Okay.
bien.
So the demolition permit is approved. Thank you.
One of my rooms is flooding right now.
The B Park LLC.
So I've been shop vacuuming. That's the thing that's going on. I was a little nervous. We just had
There was no. the
a
application
4-day-old
on it.
baby. So, yeah, thank you.
All right, the next person that's gonna
4
be
weeks early. Oh,
Monkston, 11515 Northeast,
Everything's.
109th Avenue.
I was telling
And that is for a driveway.
my recovering wife, like, hey.
Look,
this
what was
week-
it?
Monkston. M. All right, so sir, can you just go up to the microphone, please? The microphone and turn it on?
Yes, it is.
Okay, it's on. All right, we need couple things. We need dimensions on this. And it does not look like you have an approach drawn out. You just have it on your property.
Yes,
It needs to go, the approach from the street needs to
Okay.
be on here, and it's not on here. It's not on your drawing.
okay,
So you, I mean, what you're asking for looks like it's within our code, but I don't know if you're considering this line, the street, or you're considering this the property line.
esa es la propiedad.
If you like to-
Será la calle. No, it's a property.
It needs to go to the street.
Yes.
The
because that
property
come-
line and the street are two different things.
Correct. Yeah, it's coming from the front door of the house to the edge of the property from the city.
Okay. Can one of you just come over here, please?
Ah.
Just one, please come over. Okay, so this is your property line? This street, this property, it needs to go to the street.
Yeah.
Because right now, this is all like grass. You can't just have a big space between. I don't know if I think you might have meant to have this over here.
Dice que lo que la calle está aquí, lo único que está es esto. Si nosotros queremos es ir de aquí hasta la calle, hasta la orilla de la calle.
So. Yeah, I can see it. Okay.
El problema que está pasando es que
The problem is
esa-
that it's cracking right now.
entonces esta es la calle. This is the street right there.
Yeah, so this here?
Yeah.
Is here,
Yeah.
but here it's shown at,
Sí, gravilla.
it's not, on- it's,
asphalt. This is asphalt.
I know, but what you're showing me here is against the street.
Eso es lo que está
Yeah.
ahí.
Here's the
Yeah,
street, there's
yeah.
that. This is the property line, which is over here.
Ajá.
So you're saying that this is now going to be,
Yeah, it's gonna
Over
be
there.
Yeah, it's gonna be the whole thing. La grass, lo que está verde se va.
Sí, sí, pero
All the
solo-
green is gonna go. So it's
solo
gonna,
pues,
it's,
un
they're gonna do
pedazo.
this right here. So it's gonna do one whole thing right there.
I-
The grass is gonna go this way. They're gonna pour the
La
grass.
esta grama no se va. Lo que se va es el parqueo. Que llega aquí donde está la puerta del garaje. Y ahí para allá.
This is the garage right here.
Yeah,
So
I-
this
Yeah.
asphalt is the one he's gonna renew.
Ya. Ahora mismo, esta es la entrada de la casa y esta es la puerta del garaje.
Okay, right now on this side here, this is the walkway to the door, and this is the garage door right there.
Ya.
So they're gonna fix all that right there.
Esto es grama, esto se queda.
The grass is gonna stay.
so can you just flip that back? To go the other way. So are you just repaving this or are you taking it out
No,
and redoing it?
Esto lo vas a sacar.
Sí, eso
Yeah,
se va a sacar.
Yes,
y-
they're gonna
y-
repave it.
So this is just repaving what's existing.
Si vas a darle paving a lo que está existente.
You're adding nothing new.
sí,
No vas a hacer nada nuevo ahí.
no.
Okay, so what you're drawing here is not what you have there, but what you're looking to do, if the calculations are correct, which you have a corner lot, I think you are. It's a reef,
It's
As-
just repaving.
yeah, so basically the way it's drawn right now, he's drawing it on the property instead of
To
on the
road.
right of way.
But I mean, but he's also showing
Y este-
like
lo-
beyond where the current pavement is, right? I mean,
A lot.
Now when they wanna fix it. because
Like 3
it's
times as
all
much.
real bad, it's
Mhm.
real right.
Yeah, no.
y se llena de agua.
Yeah.
So when water goes through, it's gonna fill the water.
Okay, yeah, I understand. So we have a couple things. We have this form that needs to be filled out
Okay, esa
That
forma
has-
que la llena.
that has the square footage of the driveway when it's done.
Okay. Eso hay que irlo a llenar y entonces cuando tú lo llenes te va a decir, cuando esté hecho el driveway, eso te va a dar el full completo lo que
So like this. Like in the swale, this is the swale.
Este es el suelo.
You have to go 10 feet by 30 feet,
Yeah,
10
tiene que
feet by
medir
30
la-
feet by
No.
the square footage.
Okay.
Okay, so, and then on the rest, you have to go over here, 20 feet by 30 feet, and you have to calculate it. So since it's existing, you have a good, it's most likely gonna be fine.
Porque está existente y vas a estar bien.
But the other thing,
Ahora, una pregunta. Eso yo lo puedo hacer con concreto.
You can do those with concrete.
if he wants to pull that out and
Si
replace it with
eso- si
concrete,
vas a sacar
yes.
eso ahí, vas a hacerlo concreto, sí.
Yes.
So he needs to
Yes.
put it on the
It needs to be,
Vas a tener que ponerlo ahí que vas a hacerlo.
Concreto.
No, it says concrete on the permit.
oh, so it's not repaving.
No, it's not repaving. It's concrete.
Porque se está metiendo el agua.
It's like-
muy payaso.
Parece que fuera argentino.
Ya, porque- No, mi esposa es venezolana.
So the survey. See the survey? So here's the property line. Here's the street. Street. What's here is drawn, is like this. That, you have it here, drawn like here.
Ujú.
So you need to redraw this.
Necesitamos izquierda, que es problema, que está allá, no allá, porque
Sí,
it's grass.
Eso aquí.
So,
Tiene que,
Just-
esto que está aquí hay que ponerlo aquí, rectificarlo y
Ujú.
hacerlo aquí. Porque este es brass. Esa vuelta que él tiene aquí. Para que-
So the thing is, you have to provide us is dimension.
allá
Yeah.
y allá, and then the total for. So then we know
¿Cuántos
percentos,
pies?
and then-
Okay.
Yeah, no.
No, I'm just saying, you need to draw what you want and give dimensions.
Okay.
Okay? So you have to read, so on the survey, draw this on the survey,
Okay, ahí en el survey, en ese mismo survey, pon lo mismo que
Draw-
está ahí con medidas.
draw it
Yeah.
out, okay? And then you have to, on this form
En la
here,
forma esa, hay que ir a buscar la
you have
forma esa
to,
para
you have to
llenar.
do the calculations.
Pero
Esa es la calculación.
So, dun, 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 and then you have to add it and subtract and all that. So
Y muy importante, muy importante.
40%.
Menos 40%.
maximum 40%,
por-
40%.
40%. No más.
So because the forms are not, they're not complete, we're gonna have to table this now. Because we need you to correct
Tienen que-
this,
Tienen que llenar eso para que entonces corregir.
and we need you to do the
Más-
survey exactly how
Tienen que
much.
hacer esto como está ahí. En vez de tomar yo ahí, tienen que hacerlo aquí.
And the thing is if you're just duplicating what you have there, you just gotta go there and measure it and write.
Lo único que tienen que hacer es medirlo eso y ponerlo ahí.
All right, I'll give you that.
Mañana sí va a estar
No, not tomorrow because of the storm. But if you can get it to her on Wednesday, no, today, tomorrow's Wednesday, Thursday. We have another meeting next Monday.
El lunes que viene hay otro meeting.
We could see if we can get them on the agenda for. Yes. Okay.
So mañana por la mañana. Or no, actually, is it closed tomorrow?
We're closed.
Okay,
We're
so
closed tomorrow.
Thursday.
They have a little leniency.
Pero eso-
We'll ask SB to put you on the. agenda.
Yeah.
Okay. So motion to table,
Motion to table.
Second.
David Scarlett, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, so you're tabled, not tonight. No, tonight. Table, filling in like a hold, and then so come back with the correct for Monday,
Ok, regresa con las
For Thursday.
correcciones y todo eso.
yes. But you have to submit the drawings on Thursday
El jueves tiene que irse una
before,
ya antes
Yeah.
de venir aquí. So it's gonna be open.
yes,
Okay.
hopefully. Okay. All right, we had some people walk in. What's your name, ma'am? Okay, and did anybody else walk in? Nope, we got everybody, okay, ma'am, you were here, you walked in? Are you doing together? Okay. All right, since you're on the agenda, we're gonna go ahead and take you, McLean, 721 Northeast 116th Street.
What car is it?
Huh.
Oh, it's done now.
All right, so you're doing this kind of frost or city blue on the walls. Okay, and then the white trim, like a frost line trim, and the doors caliente. Okay. Everybody can see in the photos?
Yeah.
Any questions?
Give the actual chips or no?
No, they're, I mean, if she has them, you could just maybe just show, but they look pretty represented.
Yeah, I
on
mean, I was
the,
gonna say, it looks, if
on
those
the-
are.
Pretty good,
Yeah.
drawing.
Motion to approve.
David?
Second.
Ed, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carries. All right, you're good. Thank you. All right, so the next is, we have B Park under discussion A, B Park 114 LLC, 11412 Northeast 8th Avenue, new construction, second preliminary. Is that what we have here?
That Is it second or first?
Oh, first, I'm sorry. New construct, first preliminary, I'm sorry. Is this the,
Yeah, those are the plans there. Is this on? Yeah.
if you'd like, we can come up and look at it?
Yeah.
Good evening, Planning Board. Nick Caparella representing the contractor, Caparella Group. This is a single-family home at 11412 Northeast 8th Avenue. Kind of a modern design, but not as modern as has been happening. Single story.
You're taking down the existing house.
We're going to be taking down the existing house. Exactly. So looking at the site plan, it looks like we meet the preliminary setbacks. A switch over to our floor plan here. We have a 2-car garage that's over here in the front, and this is really a 3-bedroom plus a den office, 4.5 bathrooms with a cabana bath in the back. We will be installing a pool with the construction of the house as well. This house has 3,123 square feet, 437 of garage, the covered entry is 228, and the covered patio is 676 square feet. Any questions?
Yeah, let's go back to your calculations here real quick.
The site area is 12,150. The impervious area is 5,994
And it's not actual pervious?
Impervious.
Actual total lot coverage.
total,
So that would be pool, driveway, walkway.
everything.
Everything.
We're right,
You're right up here.
yeah, right just at 6,000. Yeah, I actually think we shaved a couple of feet off of the house to be able to make it. Initially, we wanted it larger than that 3123, but that's what happened when we took a couple of feet out of the middle here. But it'll be a nice development for a single story. Yeah, maximum elevation is 21.7.
You know what we were at as far as flood.
I can't remember what we're at with flood off the top of my head. But I know that we've already been chatting with the people that would be installing septic tanks or giving us some proposals. And so not sure if we need that lift station yet or not. Haven't gotten that far yet, but that's what we're hoping. I think it was initially drawn in the front, and maybe we're talking about putting it in the back.
You're like 21 plus. Type of roof material?
Sure, it's going to be a concrete tile. We'll make a decision. It'll be a concrete tile or a metal roof, but I think we're leaning towards roof tiles.
So on metal roof, you just have to provide a 6-inch fascia. Yeah, I believe it's 18 inches. You just have to provide 18 inches around the perimeter overhang
For the metal.
for metal.
Yeah.
The metal.
Right now, we're calling for roof tiles, so
Just keep that in mind. But for metal, you have to provide 18 inches.
okay.
Around the entire perimeter. come in for a separate roof permit, so that window permit. like normal.
So I guess right now our overhang looks like it's what, 13 inches? I take that back. It looks like it's 16 inches. By 4 inches.
Well, 2 inches.
2 inches.
Or if you switch to metal.
Yeah, your tile, you're fine.
And based on that.
We don't need the roof to fly off. We don't want to find the roof of the neighbor's pool. Probably all PGT product, single light. And yes, all the windows and doors match. Just got some details here, standard construction stuff. Wall schedules, foundation schedule.
Yeah, we do need a tree survey.
It's ordered. Yeah, and at the same time, I'm not sure that the current survey shows where the existing septic tank and drain field is. We're trying to get that located as well.
Probably. It was there with the
Just
bill.
have to put it on the survey.
Yeah. Don't have any, they are ordered and probably will be at meeting two with the renderings. But yeah, metal Bahama shutters or faux Bahama shutters, right? That's what we were going for. Didn't want to go understated or overstated with the house. Would think this is something that the masses will. Yeah, actually, we were supposed to be here with a second project tonight, but we
Yeah,
didn't.
you can just let us know what there, if you're removing it. Or things where it-
We are hoping that we don't. Yeah, we are hoping. Yeah, as it sits right now, there's no tree removal.
So, any comments?
No.
Yeah, I talked with Esperance.
Yeah.
And yeah, so the second one got cleaned up today and it's probably on for next Monday. Would that be the follow-up meeting for this one as well? Okay,
So,
Yeah, assuming that.
next one, you can consider be approved by the middle.
do you want the hard set to be left with you tonight?
Does she have it submitted?
It's digitally.
Okay, but digitally, okay, as long as she has a copy of this. She doesn't-
Okay,
Get the next time for.
thank you, board.
Next meeting for second review. All right, so we have two walk-ons. The first one is Lafferty, 11101 Northeast 11th Place. Okay, and this is a question for us on a pool, right? Can I have you go to the podium and speak into the microphone? Just introduce yourself.
I
Thank
am
you.
Corey Lafferty. I'm the architect for 11101 of Northeast 11th Place. And
Can you guys hear him?
Yeah.
You can hear him? Okay.
can you hear me?
Yeah, just, go
Okay.
ahead.
So what we're trying to determine is this particular lot is sort of like a pie-shaped lot and has two frontages. The frontage that's on 111 Northeast Street goes right onto a railroad track. That's where it dies out at. So if you have do you have the image of the site plan that I sent over?
Yeah.
Okay. So that really is, I mean, it's a street, but it's really kind of a dead end street there. And because this property is sort of a pie shape, it makes it difficult for us to put in a pool in that area. So what we're requesting is a variance to the setback so that we can put the pool in a more location that makes more sense for the house. Right now, with the current setback, we would have to be back 30 feet. And with the shape of this lot and the constraints that we have with it, it makes it difficult to put the pool in a good location. So we're asking for a 15-foot variance so that we can locate the pool in a kind of a place that makes sense.
Gage, one question. I mean, per the survey and of course per the image, effectively Northeast 11th Street ends, right?
It does.
For the easternmost point of their property.
Right. It doesn't even go all the way to the
Yeah.
end of our property.
So
Yeah.
once 11th Street terminates, is the remainder of that property a street frontage? Or does it become a side yard? Because where they're placing the pool is more or less beyond where that street, where they're attempting to place the pool, right? Where that street ends.
So then it would shift to be a 10-foot setback.
I'm just pulling up the property appraisers list. I'm just curious where the property lines are for the properties that are to your south.
1030.
Yeah, so let's see. Hold on, this one's- I'm just wondering if that actually is a driveway or is it actually 111th Street?
It's more or less a driveway, really. It's really a driveway to that one
Let's see.
piece of property there. I mean,
Mrs.
it's
Gay?
called out as a
So
street.
the resident's name is Gay. I'm sorry, without Laverty. So I called that into the thing. So, oh, it is a public right of way. Huh. But it could be just considered a utility. So you're actually, what you're requesting is instead of a 30-foot setback, which it looks like that's what they did the house on that angle.
Well,
going-
we, in the
wanna-
future, we're also going to be doing an addition to the house, so we're going to bring it to that 30-foot setback. It's not a big addition, but there's going to be an addition to it.
Are you talking about in the area behind the house?
No, we're not moving the area behind the house back, but we're moving the house south a little bit. Adding to the south.
They're growing it slightly
We're
south.
growing
up
it
to that 30 foot.
slightly south, yeah.
That pink kind of overlay is not all the house. That's the house hardscape.
I'm looking at the property appraisal.
No, I
So-
think that's the addition.
Yeah, what I'm saying is the pink doesn't represent necessarily the existing volume of the
Right,
house.
no. And you can't put it behind the house?
That's what I'm
I
trying
see
to.
there's a palm tree there.
It becomes such a pie shape that it really constrains. And then where we want to locate the pool
Mhm.
is out of the living room. Behind the house is where the bedrooms are. So it's a little strange to put your pool right behind your bedrooms.
Um, My thoughts is that it's like, I'm not sure if that's actually a street. Which would mean that you would qualify for a 10-foot setback. Is that what you're
Yeah,
It's kinda like
that if it is a
Well,
street.
and
it
I mean,
stops at the concrete.
yeah, and I'm saying even if it is a street, it doesn't extend the full length of their side of the property line. So to me, as long as the pool begins beyond where the street terminates, then it should be a 10-foot setback.
Yeah, now the addition, if it's onto the main house, that's another story.
Yeah, because that's fronting the street.
That's
and that would
actually
need
kind
to-
of up further.
But it sounds like that they're okay with staying with 30.
Yeah, we're okay with the 30 feet. We're not going to cross that 30 foot for the house. We're just concerned about the pool, how we locate it next to the living room, not the bedrooms.
The only thing I,
So I would suggest maybe pushing it back towards the back a little bit, away from the house.
Like, yeah, so.
And then coming closer towards the property line, because like Ed's saying, once you kind of clear that driveway
Okay.
street thing that's there, you technically have a 10-foot side setback or a setback.
Okay.
Right now you're showing 15, so you could actually go back to 10.
Yeah, I think it is arguable that it's not a street because cars are parked there and they have curb stops there.
Yeah, it's like a right of way.
well, and again, I'm
Yeah.
just going by the
It's the-
legit survey that shows the
Right.
stopping, right? So.
And also it's a driveway for that house. They have nowhere to park.
So I would just suggest that next time this drawing, which is kind of your catted layout, show where the street is, because we don't see it
This is
here,
where the
right? We
street
can see it on the survey.
So if it's a street, then you.
No,
have
so
30
at
foot
least that way it gives us
We're not.
point of reference on your plan where that street actually
driveway
terminates.
to these two houses. 'Cause these houses, these cars park here. So what we're saying is, Ed suggested is, at this point, the setback can become 10 foot because there's no street there. So he's saying, move it, you can move it back a little bit and make it 10. Follow me? 11101.
Like just,
Oh,
just so that. Yeah. Basically, you take a string.
Down at the end of 11th place.
Yeah, the deck can be in the setback.
That could be in setback, no problem.
It's not up to the
Yeah.
property line. It's gotta be.
Yeah,
set
yeah,
back
exactly. It's gotta have its own setback, which is like a 3 feet.
30, yeah,
like
30.
30-inch setback from the
36, right?
30 feet.
Yeah.
30, I thought it was 30.
30? Oh, well, 30, 36 anyways, but it's not the same for the pool itself, right, to the
Okay.
water line.
And that's a deck at grade,
Yeah, deck at grade, not an elevator.
That grade.
not like elevated grade, the deck. So,
Well, if we had to raise if we did like a wood deck, like 6 inches.
yeah, that's pretty much a grade, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't mean like, don't come in back with a 24-inch high deck or something like that up to the property.
Okay,
But that becomes a totally different thing.
okay.
So you're clear on what we're saying is like, once you get
just-
past that, the end of that street, it kind of becomes a 10-foot setback. And
Okay.
you can maybe move the pool back and
That's easy. enough
incorporate
to
more
do.
of your yard.
Yeah, that's easy enough to do.
Yeah, because otherwise it'll take a while.
Yeah, you don't want to go the variance route if you could.
And there's no guarantee you'd get the variance, actually. 'Cause you have to, because you have to prove a need that there's a hardship and, you know, you have a lot of property behind the house.
Right.
So it's kind of like, well, why can't you put the pool there? You know, why would you need to get a variance for over here?
Right,
So, but you have every right to ask for it, or Mrs. Gay does.
sure.
And, but, I think you have a solution here for your pool.
I think so. I do have a question about septic tanks. We can put those wherever, they have no setback. for septic. Is that correct?
I'm not 100% sure on that. I think that's something you have to ask the,
Yeah, so Durham with the
The
county,
county?
Durham.
they're the ones that make all of those decisions for like our permitting process.
Mm.
So like we can, that's what I was asking that house here. I was like, oh, are you gonna be cool with it? And they're like, we think so.
Yeah.
But for instance, my little brother's in the neighborhood and they told him that he was cool with it in the back, and then Durham County said, no, it has to be front, so we kind of.
Okay.
Yeah,
But,
so,
but for here, there's no setback limits or,
no, we're not really into we don't really, address septic tanks.
okay.
All right, thank you. Okay, so we also have another, which was an actual, it was on our agenda last time and we, I think, denied it. Gabitz, 939 Northeast 119th Street.
If it helps your notes.
What, sorry, Gage, this is from last time, this is
Um,
Lopez or
Gubitz,
10921?
941, Northeast 119.
Ah, yeah.
HDF stuff over there.
I just have a plan.
Yeah, they got rejected because of the setbacks. So basically what they did is redesigned it, leave everything flush with the house. They're basically closing off the porch, put double doors, make like a little foyer slash landing area. And then you get to the doors of the.
Oh, is this the one that had like the rounded tower in the front?
Yes. yeah,
Okay.
They took that off.
Is that a tornado coming?
This area being what specifically, our area or?
There's nothing more scary but than being
This area.
and those things going off when you're like in the middle of it. It's like, they're like terrorizing people. Okay, so let's, sorry.
Yeah, I don't think so. Bathroom underneath that AC. They actually revised the plans from last time.
This petition on the back, I'm just appeal, we don't have like your application and all the stuff, like, so they took like, this up. So,
I represent the owner, I'm with the contract.
yeah, because it had like the windows and the stone.
Yes, yes,
So now it's just you're closing it off, putting doors, windows.
correct.
So your setbacks are fine, you're doing double height, 1 story.
One story just gonna be a high ceiling with windows all around and making it into a room. A
that
duplex,
you're-
yeah.
Just the one, I think you're leaving the duplex, but you're adding
Yes.
this big room on the back.
Correct.
Remember that? Yeah. So what is the increase?
2 daughters.
Okay.
That's his daughters.
It must have been a family because they're like, okay, go to your apartment.
That's exactly what it, yeah.
For the back, yeah.
Yeah, we did the same thing next door. I actually did it. Yeah.
So. So we're gonna have to. So you have a non-conforming setback. Okay, our setbacks are 10 feet, which
Okay.
means that anything new has to be a 10. Okay. Actually, that's not true. No, everything new, the other one was different because they were putting a second story. This one, the new structure has to be a 10 feet. It has to be.
Okay, so
It has to be.
it's like a
10.
little,
This side is 5.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
you have to set it back like 3 inches or so.
Yeah, no problem.
You want to make it architectural detail and set it
Yeah,
back.
you're saying the administrative waiver
For
was applicable because it was a one story
Second.
and two
Yeah.
setback.
The new has to be at 10 feet.
Yes, everything stays,
It stays underneath the roof line.
just closing the porch off.
So closing the
and-
porch, adding this part here.
Correct. Mm.
So, are you gonna be, changing this? structure?
Yes, everything's gonna match the same.
So these and these have to match. These are single hung.
Yeah, this is existing right now. Those are the old school
Single hung
louvered.
And actually fixed windows can go together. As long as you just don't have single hung and horizontal.
Yeah, he's gonna change them all.
Everything else is all fixed.
Mhm.
Um, So here's the thing, I think we should get the approval on this based on the setback, guys are in agreement.
Yeah,
But-
how does the setback affect, like, the? So it's completely
Yeah,
independent.
it's above it.
It's gonna be higher, right?
So
Just right here, right on, under this window.
yeah, so this is the elevation, you push back 3 inches, so. it should be-
Mhm.
Yeah, but the overhang would be eliminated if you were building a new structure right up to this. But if the
You
wall-
wouldn't see this line.
Yeah, but if the wall came all over here. And also this line should line up with that one, right? Unless if they can sit it on top, I know they're sitting on. top, but it's still popping
You
out.
have an existing. What you wouldn't see. No, you wouldn't see that.
Technically, the
So
drawing- now it's gonna be
the
three.
line,
Yeah, the
yeah.
drawing's
Yeah, don't change that. Now it's gonna be correct when you do set it back.
So we can get a tentative approval. Because it wasn't on the agenda.
Mhm.
Let's have it come back at our next meeting.
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna
Before
tell him
the
to
end of-
fix.
before the end of Thursday.
Absolutely. I'll tell him.
Because you can get that part.
This one's, yeah.
The new part.
I get it though. I get it. Yeah, bring it in. Yes, correct. I'll let him know. Yeah. Okay, sounds good. Yeah.
So I'm gonna let you hold on to this.
You got it.
We can give you some feedback. And if you could just-
Sounds good.
No vote. Thank you, sir. All right. I believe we have Alex David. So do we want to just go ahead and jump over to our other agenda, which whereas the local planning board, which is for this board. Alex David is here to do his presentation on Zoom regarding the McMansion. Alex. You hear us?
Good evening, everyone.
You hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Mario, did you want to bring up the presentation?
Alex, so you are a co-host, so if you want to share, that way you can control the PowerPoint.
Okay. All right. Can you all see the PowerPoint presentation?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay, okay, I didn't hear anything, sorry. Okay, so after 4 public discussion meetings starting last December, we're finally getting to the adoption process, which is why I'm here tonight. You sitting as the LPA, the local planning agency, will review the changes, proposed changes to the chapters 2, 10, and 17. That was based on all the previous comments. So in your role today, you'll recommend either approval with some changes, or denial of this to the commission. As a transmittal to them for their 2 adoption hearings.
Okay.
Okay, so basically the project goals, we've looked, we know the village, we looked at the issues in the village, and as I said, we've had a number of discussions. So any code that we write is tailored to the the specific municipality. And as I said, we've had 4 discussions or workshops for this item. And the long and short of it is, in the end, any changes we propose have to be legally defensible. So, and I believe you've seen this and are familiar with what we're doing. So we're basically changing and adding new definitions to chapter 2, your definitions chapter. We're putting in regulations to address the larger scale homes that are coming in. And the third thing, which is the easy thing, is just deleting the zoning map and the zoning standards that were in section 17.8, which is your fee schedule. Deleting the map and standards from there and putting them where they should be, which is creating another section in chapter 10. So I mentioned the 4 previous meetings. We started 9 months ago now. December 11th was our first public workshop. It was held on a Saturday at the log cabin. And since that time, we met with you in May. We had a meeting with the commission in August, and then the last meeting 2 weeks ago was again at the commission to discuss some other changes. So as we all know, this started back in April of 2021. And everyone knows there were outdated regulations or incomplete regulations, and we really wanted to regulate dwellings that were getting larger and taking up more of the lots. So that was the whole impetus for this process. This is just a slide of what we cover in the current code, which is kind of minimal. So we're adding to it. And as we get into the documents, I'll go through this a little bit more, but one of our discussions was there was no actual maximum height of a structure in the village. So I was recommending 35 feet, and that's one of the discussion items that the commission wanted us to discuss tonight. Is that an appropriate height, or is it 25 feet, or is it 30 feet? There's no right or wrong. The county has 35 feet maximum. But a maximum of 2 stories. Other municipalities, as I say, they vary. So I'd like to discuss that and get an answer tonight so we could, move forward to the commission. So that's one of our tasks, maximum height of structures. We also discussed balconies at the commission, and I believe with you all. And I will be proposing wording that no balcony shall encroach into the required setback area. So that really limits, people with balconies looking over into the neighbors, or limits it a bit more because they're not out into the setbacks on the second levels. The other discussion item was maximum story height, what is appropriate, and again, this was an exercise or a task that the village commission gave you all. You know, what is appropriate maximum height of a floor? You know, we're regulating the total height, but what's the maximum height of one level? One of the things I am recommending, you know, right now you could have one lot, you could have two lots, or you could have three lots, and your setbacks or your side setbacks and rear setbacks are the same, right? Doesn't matter. So what I'm recommending is a sliding scale. So if you're going to combine two lots and build a house, well, you need to increase the setback, your side and your setbacks by, I was recommending 50% if you're combining two lots, and 100% if you're doing three lots. So if you have three lots and your rear setback is, you know, 10 feet right now, well, if you combine three lots, it needs to be at least 25 feet. I'm sorry, 20 feet. Same with the side setback. So it would be a, you know, a sliding scale. The commission tasked you all to see if you agree with these numbers, or do you want to, you know, even a larger increase in setbacks. So that's something that they asked that you know, review tonight. Again, your landscape code is very minimal, so I added the requirement to enforce Chapter 18A, which is a Miami-Dade County Landscape Code. It's in two places in, you know, in the revisions. So I just want to point that out, and I think that's a start. The code is the code. You're required to, you know, enforce it. Any applicant that comes in needs to, you know, confirm that they have complied with Chapter 18A. That's the minimum standard, so we need to make sure. So that's kind of an easy fix in that area.
I think we're talking about it at our next meeting,
Okay.
like landscaping, the next meeting.
So anyway, so I put that in. It's like I said, it's an easy fix. It's
Sorry
anticipation.
to interrupt. No, the next meeting is with regards to dwelling units, not
Oh,
landscaping.
dwelling units. I'm sorry. Yes, sorry. Yes,
Okay.
thank you, Mari. Yes.
So, yeah, I thought maybe in a future meeting, but yeah, so I just think this is a good fix because, you know, when someone comes in and they have to affirm that, yes, we are in compliance with Chapter 18A. Easy fix. You're kind of out of the picture there because they are saying they do, you know, comply. So it takes the pressure off the village. So again, we're here tonight, so that you sitting as a LPA to give your recommendation to the village commission. So once this is done, and if you have any recommended changes, I'll note them and highlight them in the next revision to the documents showing this is the recommendation of the planning board or LPA to the commission. Do you agree with these changes or not? So that's how it will work. So whatever we do tonight will go forward to first reading, and then the adoption hearing will be at a later date after that. With that, I will close this presentation and then go through the chapters, so you can see what we've done since
And
last.
then can we stop as you're going through that and make comments at that point?
Yes.
Okay.
So the easy one
Alex,
is the
Alex,
definition.
I think we had a quick question before you move forward.
Okay.
No,
Can you just speak into the mic so he can hear you?
yeah.
Thanks.
Can you hear me, Alex?
Is it
Yeah.
regarding the items that we're going to be going over again now?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say is it's towards the end at the 18A.
Yeah, he was,
Talk about it when we get.
we'll talk about it when we get back to the item on the, not. So just go through it.
Okay. So the first chapter that we've amended since the last time we met in May, and during my discussion with the commission 2 weeks ago, I think it's a very good idea. What I did was, we needed a building height definition. So in chapter 2, I've added a definition. And it's 2.2.37 height, building height. It's measured from the established base flood elevation for the purposes of regulating the number of stories and height of buildings.
What's that number
So-
again, one more time?
It's 2.237.
Okay,
So this is just kind of, you have a grade definition, so the um the building height has to be is established based on whatever your base flood elevation is. So, realize that over time that may change just because of the FEMA maps and everything else. So, it's something that's where we typically tie it to the base flood elevation. So that building height definition was added. And also there are two things, they're called pervious and impervious surfaces. And I think someone mentioned it, the new build on 114th, I believe, was it 8th Avenue or something? He mentioned impervious area, and he said I think he's right at the cutoff there. So, you have a lot coverage in your code, but you don't really talk about what the hard surfaces are, what the definition of the hard surfaces that don't absorb water. What is that? So we've added this impervious definition to include, pavements, non-porous pavements, roofing, decks, or structure foundations or supports. So anything that's hard, doesn't drain water, is considered impervious in your calculations.
yeah, but we don't actually do it that way. I mean, if you read the chart, it says 50% lot coverage.
Right.
It doesn't say impervious lot coverage. It says 50% lot coverage.
Well, there's a lot coverage definition in there. Okay, so I'm just describing what impervious is. You have a lot coverage definition, and I've added that it's non-porous or does not absorb water. So it's anything hard. So the lot coverage is in there, but we've just added the impervious definition so people know what it is. Same, and then the opposite is the pervious, so that does absorb water. So there's just a short definition: pervious or permeable surface allows water to pass through. These are just two cleanups, but your lot coverage is your lot coverage, and that's your standard.
Okay, but so I don't know if I agree. I mean, so if somebody wants to gravel their entire yard and take all the trees out, that's pervious. So, and it doesn't absorb water. I think the idea of it was having the 50% of your lot being natural, green, landscaping, whatever. So meaning undeveloped land.
Well, that's not what it says. I mean, that's typically, are you talking about green area then?
Well, it says maximum lot coverage is 50%. So that means anything that is, to me, it's always been defined as anything that is developed on the lot, you have a maximum of 50% coverage. The rest of it has to remain.
So we've added open space. So should your definition then not be lot coverage? It should be, your standard should be open space instead of lot coverage?
Well, that's what the chart says, is the 50% lot. It says lot coverage 50% max. I believe that's what the chart says.
So do you really mean open space?
Well, the thing is your open space also says impervious, which then still allows for the example of somebody just graveling their entire house, their entire yard.
I mean, it
That's
drains.
considered
Some municipalities allow that because it's more water friendly. You don't use as much water if you gravel it. I know, it's not a look for everyone, but some cities allow gravel because it is pervious. So
What does 18A of the county
Yeah.
landscaping code
yeah,
say?
you could have gravel.
Okay.
It's not,
can have
you have to
gravel.
have trees, you have to have trees, there's certain minimum tree requirements and shrubs, but they regulate the maximum amount of sod. So they don't want to see grass, the county, or 100% coverage, of
But here's the thing.
grass.
I mean, here's the thing. Okay, so if we really wanted to push it, somebody could build a house, the actual structures up to the 50%, and then do a driveway and everything else in gravel. And they're then gone over the 50% lot coverage, and they're now they technically would be within the impervious pervious calculations.
Right. So how do you suggest, how do you want to change this? Because I think we need the pervious impervious definitions in there. So what we're talking about now is lot coverage and open space.
Well, what if we add something that says the total lot, the total impervious and pervious lot impervious materials cannot go over 50%. Developed lot. I mean, I know grass and everything is pervious, but maximum development of pervious and impervious improvements shall not be more than 50%.
So, but that's going to be in the chart then. So hold that thought, because that's a regulation. It shouldn't be in the definitions, but we're going to put asterisk or something in the chart to say what you just said.
So in the lot coverage definition, you don't have driveways or, patios or anything like that. It says
Correct.
structures above grade. So I think that's a big omission.
So
Yeah, but
Buildings and structures. So is a structure, a driveway, a structure?
well, in impervious, the definition is non-porous materials such as pavement, roofing, decking, structures, or supports.
Basically, you're talking about non-organic improvements to the property, which would include driveways, patios, concrete
Right.
slabs.
but I think that leaves a big gap in what we're calling lot coverage.
So,
We definitely do driveways and patios and everything that's covering the lot.
So in the impervious definition, should I add driveways?
No, the lot coverage.
Oh, the lot coverage? I'm sorry. You kind of petered out there for a second, so I couldn't hear you.
Sorry.
So in the lot coverage, we're going to add buildings and other structures, driveways,
Pools. I mean, is a pool a structure?
Pools, patios, we count all that.
driveways, pools.
Yeah, again, wouldn't it be simpler to just say all non-organic improvements to the property? Because it's basically what we're saying is anything that's not landscaping.
So you're going to prohibit gravel because that's non-organic, so I'm trying to like,
But that's the point, right? Because we don't want 100% gravel properties.
Right.
The 100% gravel properties turn into 50% weeds.
Again, I get your point, though, that we're also incorporating Miami-Dade County, which allows it because they want to dissuade
Grass.
water consuming sod. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So, but
I feel like we're getting plenty of water.
such as, okay, so I mean, I could list them out in lot coverage and just say driveways, pools, patios. That are and that are impervious.
Again, though, that wouldn't apply to gravel driveways.
Correct.
Just,
So,
we got a definition that says, like you're saying, any type of marked improvement,
Well, and
pervious or pervious to the lot cannot go over 50%.
Well, and as we currently are, we're cooler with people if they're gravel drivewaying with that taking up more of their yard, but they still have to abide by all the different setbacks and everything like that.
so right now, does a gravel driveway is that calculated as part of pervious or impervious?
What we're saying is when we consider lot coverage, we don't consider the question of pervious impervious. That's what we're saying.
Right.
So that your definition includes impervious, and that's what we're objecting to. It should just not be relevant. It's improvements. So you can say driveways, doesn't matter whether it's gravel or first of all, I don't know that I agree with that, because I think there's a value in encouraging gravel driveways versus concrete. But anyways, typically the board considers a gravel driveway, a pool, a patio, etc., as lot coverage.
Yeah, but the new driveway code specifically says 40% driveway, 60% landscaping or organic material.
Yeah.
So it doesn't discourage gravel. It just says you can't go over the 40% of gravel under your front yard.
Yeah.
So that's the way that the new code deals with it, is 40% of a type of material.
I get that
Or
for the
no.
driveway code, and that makes sense to me. When it comes to lot coverage, what I think the gentleman's point is that typically you treat it as impervious, right? That's the
Right.
way you treat the lot coverage, and you say it's 50%, but you're talking about impervious materials. So a gravel driveway in that definition wouldn't penalize you against the 50% lot coverage. You're still limited to a 40% of your front yard as parking area, right? So that's got a constraint on gravel, but when it comes to your overall 50% of developed property, that it wouldn't count towards that.
Yeah, I just think that you can have, I don't know, I'm just, we've been going away from the impervious pervious discussion, and, if you want to still use impervious pervious, the thing is that we just want to have some kind of maximum 50%.
What did this underline is a revision. So what did was there no definition of lot coverage in the original, or is there
There was no definition, and we were asked
Well-
about the pervious and impervious two the other day, so that's why I put those in, but those are definitions. The lot coverage, I think, is the most important thing we need to deal with. The impervious, pervious are just definitions, so
Well, the table- the table A, which
Table A refers to it. No, I understand.
says maximum lot coverage
Get it.
percent, 50%. That's the only place that it's ever,
Exactly. I'm asking, was there a definition of lot coverage prior to? No.
let me look at the thing. I don't see. No, I
No.
don't think there was ever a lot coverage thing.
No, so that's why that's underlined, so, we could tweak it any way you want, so.
No, I just think that you can have it. It's just take out that last part, that and is impervious, that is non-porous or does not absorb water.
Okay, so we're gonna stop it at impervious.
Or just take out structures at and above grade, period.
Okay, got it. That's a good fix. And then you all, if there's a question, then you have the flexibility. So, okay, so we could just stop it there. The area of a lot which is occupied or covered by all buildings and structures at or above grade, period.
And that building and structures includes driveways, pools, everything like that.
Okay, so second sentence will be including.
Wait, do we need a second sentence?
I mean, do you want me to list out driveways, pools, and patios? Or just leave it at buildings and structures?
Yeah, but
Don't need a second.
yeah, except for then if I'm an architect before this board, I'd say, well, what is a structure? You've got a definition for it. It's anything constructed or erected, the use of which requires rigid location on the ground or attachment to something, having a permanent location on the ground, including buildings, walls, fence. And I'd say, my gravel driveway is not a structure by your definition, so you can't count that.
I would just say maybe something, all buildings, comma, structures, comma,
Just saying.
driveways, walkways, and pools,
Yeah, I think you need to be explicit because people are going to come before.
we're gonna try and find
It's a-
holes.
And it's every municipality is different. Driveways,
Yes.
yes, no. Pools, yes, no.
Right.
So
Yep.
we should be clear about what we want to count.
Okay, so then the sentences, the lot coverage definition is going to read the area of a lot which is occupied or covered by all buildings, comma, structures, comma, driveways, comma, walkways, pools, and patios.
Okay.
And then I don't think we really need.
Accessory
that.
structures too?
I'm sorry?
Accessory structures like sheds or,
Sheds,
Pool,
pergola,
houses.
pergolas on cement, anything. well,
yeah,
pergolas, but-
accessory structures.
I mean,
Okay,
you could use all buildings, comma, accessory structures.
okay,
Well, I guess that's in structure,
Yeah.
so that's okay.
right, I mean, yeah, but I
You
could
count
throw it in, buildings, accessory structures, comma, driveways, walkways, pools, and patios,
At or above grade.
at or above grade.
And are you counting, just out of curiosity, Gage, someone has an open pergola or trellis that has no slab, might have footings for the post, but they don't have a slab. It's in their yard.
That's.
Or a a tiki hut or whatever the proper term is, the,
Well, cheeky
Palapa.
covers lot, so I always consider it part of the
what
lot.
about an open trellis? That's really just,
Right. If it's on dirt, it's not, it's,
Yeah, I mean,
Not
we're starting to
part
split hairs a little bit.
well, we are, but again, it's
I get it.
structure now, but it's an impervious one. So it's back to this, are we sticking?
But we're striking the term impervious.
I hear you.
right.
But I'm saying.
The
I don't think a
structure.
Pergola that's open on a yard should count towards lot coverage, but it's a structure.
Yeah.
So it's a structure. Does it, so it,
I think it shouldn't count in my view, but by that pure definition, it would, right?
I mean, if somebody built a 20 by 20 trellis structure in the backyard, I would consider that part of the it wouldn't just be blank. It would, there's something there, So I think under structures that would, and it would give us a little discretion on that too.
Right, but my opinion is if it's a pergola on dirt or grass, it's not part of your lot coverage. Once they start
So
bricking
maybe
or-
just don't say pergola so that it's limited to structure, which is vague, which gives the
Right,
board
it's
some
very vague.
latitude.
So, right, exactly. It gives you all the flexibility to look at this thing. And if you notice something, then, then you could require them to amend it or something.
But yeah, but I mean, if then, you can go back and say a structure the structure I think is a definition of anything that has a rigid foundation to the ground. And a pergola has a rigid foundation to the ground, so, and you would need a permit, you would have to meet Miami-Dade wind code, all that kind of stuff, Florida wind code, whatever, to build it. So, anyway, I think the way we did it is good and it gives us a little flexibility on that.
Yeah, I'll leave, now you're now the design review board. So I'd rather have you all, have some flexibility.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good amendment, and then it'll be highlighted to show the commission that that's the change to that definition.
Okay. If you don't mind, can we just go back really quick and just like the buildable area, the lot area minus any required setbacks? I think there's no discussion on that on the first page. If you don't mind, Alex.
Yeah, whatever.
Clear story window above eye level designed to allow light and air without compromising privacy. I think I don't think there's any
And
questions
that
on
came out
that.
of that came out of your May meeting.
Yeah. Flood elevation base BFE, is that the pretty standard what everybody
Yes.
is using? Okay.
Could you add, based on FEMA maps or something like that to that?
Okay, so,
I mean, just also for the residents that they understand that there's somewhere they can find what their BFE is and not that they're trying to calculate what a 1%.
okay,
Like most recent FEMA maps?
right, it'll be something like based on the most recent FEMA firm, it's firm, FIR, I'll spell it out, firm map.
Okay.
Okay. All right, because every so often the FEMA comes back in and reevaluates areas and changes the map. So, it happens all the time. So everyone knows that they have to look at the most current ones, and that's how you base your elevation.
Okay, grade shall be mean in level of finished lot. Okay, any questions on that on the board? Okay, building height measured from the established base flood elevation, which means, okay, the FEMA elevation. Okay. Pervious impervious surface. I mean, if you want to leave that in there,
I'm more comfortable leaving pervious and impervious definitions in there.
Okay.
Just so, people know what they are.
okay, but we kind of counter that by the maximum lot coverage below which we
Yes,
just.
yeah,
discussed.
this is just definitions. It has nothing to do with the development
Yeah.
standards. So, but I think it's important to leave those in. Okay.
Okay. So going into 22.58, open space.
Yeah.
Then I think we would want to take out the word impervious on parking areas. Occupied by buildings, parking areas, streets, driveways. Yeah. We take that out?
So in this one, I'm just
Just-
taking out impervious.
Impervious, yeah, just strike
Yep,
impervious,
got
that's it.
Let me make that. Okay.
Okay. Okay, I think that's definitions. Any other questions?
For primary frontage, how do we know which one is the primary street?
The address?
And I think your code, wait, if I recollect, it's based on the address or something.
It is, but then there's also something about this, the
I have an associated, quite related question. Why do we need to define primary frontage? Because we don't differentiate setbacks, whether it's,
Well, yeah, if you're on a corner lot or a through lot, which one's the primary?
what is it? What does it
well,
matter?
the thing is
to
if
you?
somebody's coming for a variance to put a pool, we really want them to be in the side front, not the front. You know,
Correct.
So we have to kind of clarify which one is the front.
Yeah,
front,
what's
right?
the main, frontage? You have to define it because then that sets your sides and rear.
Could you add just the primary street based on street address, just so it's really clear what that means? Because I didn't know that.
I mean, is that the case in every house? Because typically, like the way the county works in a lot of cities, the narrowest, if you're in a corner, the narrowest part of the lot is the frontage. Unless the address is on, historically on the side, whatever. But typically, when you're addressing it and it's a corner, it's the narrow side.
Well, it's if you look at our 2.2.46, it does say that most lots, the narrowest is the front. But in the case of corner lot, occupied building on the front line shall be determined by the location of the front door of
Yeah,
the
that's what I
dwelling.
thought. I knew I saw it somewhere. Okay.
Yeah. So we have to determine where the front door is going to be, and
Then the primary street doesn't matter. It's regardless, right?
in the case of the corner lot, one shall be elected to be the front line and for the purpose of this code, provided it is so designated by the building plans, which meets approval of the planning board. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it kind of gets into a gray area that, somebody's address could be on one street and then they decide they're going to move their door around to the other street.
That's what I was just saying. I was
Then it
like,
becomes
I
like,
would
well,
have-
where's
move my door.
where are they at? So it's almost like what Alex you have, I think is good. But just maybe, come on. This is the primary.
Well, I mean, you could have there are houses with the front doors that are not on the, like what you're saying, if they move it, they probably still keep the old address, but I know I have a friend in Miami Shores, the front door faces the street and not an avenue, which is the address. So.
I bet they have a real problem getting pizzas. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. The house is not that big. They can find the address. So
the poor Uber driver.
Exactly.
I don't have a problem with the primary frontage, but like Scarlett had said, maybe add something. You wanted to add something that maybe
I
correlated
know
it
what
to
the
a street
primary
address.
street is. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I would be like
So
confused on that.
Wait, so you don't like where it says which faces the primary street?
Oh, no, I just don't want to, I just didn't know what the primary street meant. So,
You're asking to define primary street.
right, just something.
You can
that
put it right
says
after primary
primary
frontage and say it's the street that
which is-
faces the primary frontage.
Yeah,
Have a nice circular.
yeah, which faces. the primary frontage.
Yeah, I know, you can circle, going in a circle there. Oh, well, yeah, actually, your definition of lot lines mimics the part of a lot having the narrowest frontage on any street shall be considered the front lot line. Okay. So that's 46, so primary street.
So should it be the frontage that faces the narrowest part of the lot rather than the primary street?
Well, it may not always be that case. That's what I'm saying. Some doors are maybe on the longer side,
On corners, yeah.
right, on corners.
I mean, it does say on, that the planning board makes that determination. In the case of another lot, one such line shall be elected to be the front line for the purposes code, providing it is so designated by the building plans which meet the approval of the planning board.
Well, I mean,
does
let's
say
see.
that.
Wait, hold on. I could actually reference, I don't know if this is helpful, but you know, what, let's see. Which faces the primary street. And then you have the definition of front lot line. I don't know if I should tie it back to that definition. Or have you all just decide, you know,
And could it say shall mean the main facade of the building which faces the front lot line? And then you go back to the front lot line and it defines what the front lot.
that's kind of where I'm going, so.
Take out the term primary street and say,
Well, front lot line, why can't I just in paren put front lot line or something?
Yeah.
Let me work on that,
okay,
but I think I want to keep it simple, you know, so like maybe in paren front lot line or something. Or C front lot line, and then that takes you back to the definition. Which is fine, you know, so, and it's called out there, so that's the most simple way to handle that.
okay.
So that's what I'm gonna do, that's an easy. Fix there.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so we're done with chapter 2 definitions, so I'm changing.
Can I interject something real quickly? So we made a bunch of corrections on stuff that we looked at back in May in our discussion, but one thing I was thinking about is from a next steps perspective, doesn't it make sense before this goes directly to the village commission that we see post corrections a version of this so that way we know that
I'll send it
we're-
out, but we want to keep the adoption schedule, so when I do these changes, I could forward as like a courtesy. Because you're actually voting on these tonight, so.
As kind of noted, yeah, this is.
Yeah,
kind of
as
a-
noted, so, but the only, really, the
I
only.
mean, just so that, because like we could make all of these changes, but if something gets forgotten or something doesn't get done or whatever, and we're saying, oh yeah, we endorse all of this stuff. I think
Right, so.
yeah, if we can get an emailed copy or something and not necessarily, I'm not trying to delay the process, but I'm just saying, I feel like we should see kind of the feedback.
Right,
from
well,
our
so
input.
what's gonna happen, I could send this out as a courtesy to you all, but.
You'd have to
What I'm
make a
gonna do
comment.
is highlight, like, you know, like you see, you'll see in chapter 10, there's some stuff in green, that's what we're gonna be discussing, but. There's gonna be a note. In the document that says proposed amendments, you know, planning board or LPA amendments, and they'll be highlighted in yellow. So then you point, you know, you could go right to those 4 things that I'm changing in this section of the code, this chapter.
Yeah, and we can make up, you know, we could make comments to the commission, but it's to.
Right, and you can make
It's already
comments
gone
to
to
the
the commission.
commission.
They made comments. Now they've sent it to us for our comments, and now it's going to go back to
I'm
the
just
commission
saying,
with our.
yeah, I'm just saying, we changed most definitions the first time we saw it, and we're changing most of the things that we're seeing.
Right, so,
the
but
second
it'll be very clear, you know, like I said, I'll do it in yellow or something that sticks out. These are the comments from the LPA.
And we're making comments. I mean, it could be
Yeah.
that they actually say, okay, we don't really agree with you.
Well,
Right.
Can I,
You know.
can I ask another question, which is that first reading for the village commission hearing, do you have a date of when that's happening? Because we're meeting again next Monday, so we could
We're trying-
easily just look.
We
at
would have
what-
to send it out as an addendum to the agenda, probably within the next day or so for the October 4th meeting.
So is that before next Monday?
Yeah.
That's after next Monday.
Well, the meeting's after, but
Meeting's
the
after.
agenda would go out before next Monday.
So we
Yeah, but
could-
that wouldn't have the bullet points of it. So I'm just saying, if we wanted to, we could skim the corrections, because I imagine they'd be done at that point and make sure. Because like, we always have to vote on our old meeting minutes, so we
Yeah.
may as well.
But this is one of those like living documents where we're kind of making, but yeah, no, if they can, they're going to publish the agenda, they can send it back to us. We can look at it again next Monday, make any comments saying, hey, you made a mistake, and then we just.
Right, but that's why I'm taking good notes, because I want to, I want this in good shape, that you're all happy and, that it goes forward. So I know the four definitions that I'll be changing. So like I said, tonight or tomorrow at some point, I could, just like I said, take the document, put it in whatever changes we're doing, it's going to be yellow. I'm sorry, yellow. So it's super simple.
Okay.
Thank you. And I wasn't saying that I didn't think that they should all get wrote down correctly after 10.
So I'm just looking at some notes that were sent, and I don't know if these are handled in the definition part. But like, like the height of the building height, I mean, that's an actual good point. So we're telling that, the building height is from grade, but we're not saying anything about anybody that wants to say, like, let's just say it's at 7, the grade's at 7, but they want to build at 10. And then, but are we, I've got notes here that I've been looking over.
But we're telling them that their maximum height is going to be counted from base flood elevation. They want to
Right,
start-
I mean, if
they're building 2 feet above that, they're going to be allowed to go 2
Right.
feet total height.
right. That's how that works.
But do we want to encourage, or do we want to like kind of curb people building houses on big pedestals?
That's a
I mean,
design question.
That
That's
wouldn't
not
be,
me.
yeah, that wouldn't be
Yeah.
in definitions. That would be.
That would not be in definitions, right? That would be
No,
under the,
no.
okay. All right, let's continue.
Okay, so we're moving on to chapter 10. As you know, the big part was moving the regulations from section 17 into this section. And discussing, the first the 10.2.5, the zoning map, we just clarified in here, if there's an issue, where is the real line of a zoning district? Those or sector, those, we just put in some wording, dealing with that in the zoning map section, just to clarify where these districts really, the boundaries are, and who makes a determination if it's, if it's unclear. So that's that zoning map section, and that's been in here since pretty much the beginning.
Yeah.
The map has not changed. It's basically a cut and paste from that section. But in your sector's development table, development standards table is where, we need to discuss a few things, and this was the charge of the commission. So, the table's what it was, so it was copied over, but one commissioner had the minimum lot size issue with sector C. So I don't know, I know you're all discussing that at some point tonight or whenever, or I think it's tonight, right?
Yeah, we are.
So I just highlighted it because it came up. So
Yeah. So, Mario, just question. Are the intent is to mold the sector C discussion into the McMansions discussion? Because that could completely hijack and cancel the McMansion thing.
No, it's not. we don't want to delay the McMansion. The Sector C, based on your recommendation, would go to commission for a discussion.
Okay.
They would then have it, and then we would do
Any changes?
a complete overhaul based on that. But if we try to put them together, A, it could hijack, but B, it could probably delay everything another several months. And
Yeah.
we're trying to
Yeah.
close one chapter and
They
while
need to be
working on
separate
the other one.
because
Yeah.
it could sink the ship if you tried to combine them. So then my point being is that the thing that says minimum lot size square feet green, and it's in green, 6,000, that has nothing to do with the McMansion discussion, right?
Correct.
So
Correct.
that's, that,
Yeah, that was just one of the commissioners saying, talk about it, but I mean, I concur with the manager and you, Gage. I think it's gonna muddle, or muddy the waters. So I think that's a separate exercise, which is not part of what I was charged to do. So we're just gonna leave it for now, and if it's changed in the future, then we just amend the code,
yeah. Same thing with the next one, the minimum dwelling size gross. We're not making any changes to what we currently have
Right.
as far as minimum.
And that, it was just, again, the commissioner brought it up. And yeah, I that was the first time I heard about it, was 2 weeks ago. So if you're, again, not recommending any changes, we're gonna leave it as it is. And if it changes in the future, then you just amend the code.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
So now the discussion on number of feet.
right.
I'm
So
fine with it.
again-
35, I think is good.
Yeah, so again, that's what the county has in a lot of other cities, but then there are other cities that have 25 feet or, anywhere in between, and in Coral Gables in some areas it goes up to 40 feet. So, this is a number I chose because it's consistent with county policy in a lot of other cities. Is it right for the village? Because we're still we put in, we're still keeping the 2-story maximum height. So,
My question would be then is, are we looking at 17.5 to 17.5 feet stories with a flat roof?
not necessarily. So,
But I mean, so that's what I'm asking is, are we going to address later in this code setbacks and stepbacks for the second story so that if it does actually meet the 35-foot height, it's pinnacled in the middle of the lot kind of
well,
thing,
that-
right?
Right, but that was the whole exercise we did. So.
Okay, I'm just saying. So,
Yeah, so I think it's a volume thing. I mean, if the recommendation is to keep it at 35, then that's your maximum height from base flood. So, and if you want to go up another 3 feet, well, then you only get 32 feet of the building, so that's how that's gonna work. So if that's okay, we'll leave it at 35, but the maximum story height is, like you were saying, is it 17 and a half and 17 and a half, or are you gonna allow a maximum of 20 feet? And that's it. And then the next story could be no more than 15 or whatever, which is high, but I guess it's an architectural style thing, the volume of one level, or so.
so do we agree on the maximum number of height is 35? I think we're all agreement, right? Okay, so we're going to leave that.
Okay, so,
Now-
okay, I need to make that note that was the proposal with no change.
Okay, so maximum story height.
Yes.
So do we have
I don't see the need to define that.
but what if somebody has a 35-foot first story?
What do I care? It's no taller than a 2-story building that's 35 feet.
But then if it's a 35-foot,
Yeah, I mean, first of all, we have many other tools, right, as a design review board to object to a proposed design. But again, the concern is the height of a building, whether it's 2 stories, 1 story, 1.5 stories. We set a cap on that. What do we care if someone wants to have a 25-foot ceiling inside of their 1-story house? It's still no taller than the 2-story house
but
next to them.
I think one of the questions.
But the thing is some of the rules that you're putting in place, Alex, was the second story kicks back to a certain another setback, right? So
Well,
if you,
that's-
so that's the thing. If you're going to have a 1-story house that's 35 feet, then it needs to be set back further than the typical 1-story house.
Well, but
Say that
that's
it's
an
not
argument.
harmonious.
If it's a 35-foot 1-story, well, it's only a 1-story house, I don't have to set it back. So that's kind of the argument for setting something here. And that was.
Don't we have the ability to say it's not harmonious at the village? And sorry.
Yeah, that's, as a design review board, that's your charge, so.
I think the intent of this was to get us to put rules around us so that
Yeah, I just think, I don't know, personally, I don't prefer these highly prescriptive codes that have a ton of unintended consequences because you can't foresee every design scenario. But whatever, if the board wants to define a single story height, to be proposed, I'm opposed to it.
I don't care about the height. Of the story.
I just concerned about the fact is that, we're doing the second story thing to step it back. But if somebody defines a first story as 25 feet, it's going to be, what's the point?
But like every plan that I've seen, whether it's a big renovation or a new structure, we get irritated with them and make them make changes to the front if it's all two in one line. It doesn't have enough architectural features and whatever. And none of that's codified anywhere. That's us saying, hey, we would like you to do something more.
What is codified? It does, we have the code that says harmonious with the,
That's what I'm saying.
Again,
it
that's
is
what he
codified.
said is the
It's-
tool he'll use. Again,
But look how hard the teeth were to pull to get this guy to put a foot step back on the thing. Alex, is there any other municipalities that have a storied height?
Well, yeah, I mean, in some instances, I know a few codes, it's 14 feet. How do they get the number? I have no clue, but I've seen 14 feet.
That's to the ceiling, to the, right?
Floor plate, I guess, to floor plate. Yeah, but like I said, not many cities do, like, for a single family home. I mean, it's very rare to see that. Like I said, I know of one municipality, typically, and this is more like for mixed use or live work, if you have a store and then say a townhouse above it, that's where you're living and working, then they set maximums 15 feet for the work part, and then 2 stories, but it's still a maximum, say 35. So that's a different environment, but I've seen it in that with respect to live work units, but not so much to single family. So it was just
And
brought
how-
up.
Yeah, I mean,
How
I would
often do
buy
people-
in. Sorry, yeah, Scott.
How often do people want to build a 35-foot?
yeah, I just think
One-story
it's
building.
a solution in search of a problem. It's not happening.
Well, yeah,
People aren't building
Anybody ever commissioned
30-foot
to do that?
single-story homes. I mean, it's just not.
But-
You've been doing this 20 years. How many have you seen of those?
I know, but we just had a kind of a developer that just came in and really pushed our harmonious limits.
I hear you, and
and
that's
I still
why
don't
we're
think it really-
introducing all of this massing at the second floor setbacks. I think.
I mean, I would buy into the not having a maximum story, like a storied height. If we then went into our code and said above a certain height, it needs to go back further away from the setback. You need to go, you can't have a 35-foot.
What about if we make a maximum single-story height?
well, that's what this.
That's kind of what this is.
Yeah, but like
A
in Fort
single
Lauderdale,
story.
so in Fort Lauderdale, they have this formula. And I can't remember exactly, but say their maximum building height is 35 feet. They step back, like, you have to set back the second floor after 22.5 feet or something. It's like, it's an odd number, but that's what they do. And it's kind of is getting us where I think you want to be. But again, someone said about prescriptive, and remember, when we first started this a year ago, we didn't want to be prescriptive, but we've been told to be more prescriptive. So, it's up to you all. I could put a maximum story height in it, or say the recommendation of the LPA was no maximum story height. And then you
Right now,
regulate it as-
right now, you are calling out for the second thing. It says like 80% has to be set back for the second story. Okay.
Right.
So the same thing would be, you know, after a certain height, you could still have a one-story structure, but it needs to be set back more.
Which is the Fort Lauderdale thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's something, like I said, it's an odd number. It's like 22 and a half. After that, you got to step back. No matter if it's a 1-story, 35-foot, you know, or not. There's a
Can we
requirement.
define
So,
maximum story at setback? Or maximum height at setback, like, you know, 22 feet, 14 feet, whatever it is at the setback, and then anything, what is the setback you're proposing on the second story? 5 feet, additional 5 feet?
it's a couple of feet more. Yeah, it goes back. I think it's 5
feet.
We have to go back to the.
Yeah, I'm
But
just saying,
yeah.
but anything above that would need to be back 15 feet.
Maximum story height.
Maximum height at 10-foot setback or something.
I'm just trying to work, I mean, what do you,
Because a lot of a lot of the diagrams in the rear that of all the setbacks and the clear story windows and all that are based on a second story.
right,
Now, if somebody just wanted to do a whole 1-story structure, it would, these would not really be, they would not be relevant because we're dealing with a 1-story.
Yeah, again,
but like someone said, are we creating a problem that doesn't exist, you know? So,
really,
you know,
it's just not, I think, because it's not now, Gage, we're not just saying, should we regulate the story height? We want to go back to all these massing charts and change the formula from second story to above 20 feet, which is just a workaround to define a story height. Like, I don't know, 3 of the 4 board members don't have a problem with the story height. Don't think it needs to be defined. I don't
It's fine. I
think it
mean,
needs to be defined.
I'm
We have enough.
you know,
I don't think it's, first of all, a realistic concept that someone's going to spend money on a 30-foot single story house. Just not feasible. I don't think it's going to be a problem. I think,
well, I mean, that kind of, well, but
yeah, and we have other means to say you can't put 30 feet at your setback because it's obnoxious to your neighbor. Set it back. Set back your at 20. I mean, we have all those tools in our arsenal.
we do. And that's one of the reasons I believe that we don't actually have a maximum maximum building height in the code right now is because they're leaving it up to us as we're given the tool in the other part of the code to say no, you know, but I think that
I think setting a maximum height is a logical decision because the person who does do a 2-story house could want to do a 40-foot or whatever. I think setting a maximum story because we're worried about a single story house being 30 feet is not necessary. I don't think it's an issue.
so then, okay, so then that's fine, but I mean, I'm comfortable, I think you really need a maximum height in there, 2 stories, 35
Yeah,
feet.
I think no, everyone's
fine. We all agreed on that.
Everyone agrees
Yeah.
with that.
So the next one, then, I mean, this was just a suggestion, that's why it's in there with question marks, so it comes out. you
So the
don't
board
really
says,
need it?
no, we don't agree with that.
Correct,
Okay, so we're gonna say no.
yep, no, okay.
It makes you nervous, but I'll go along with the board.
So,
So,
yeah, and it's fine, and right, and someone said, you know, if you're building a house, you don't want it like. You're spending a lot of money to have a big old, open, you know, open area, which is no square footage, so it doesn't really make sense, so.
I mean, but we just literally had an issue with somebody that, you know, my famous architect wants to build this weird looking addition on the back. And they were fighting us on us saying you need to set it back. I mean, it was, you know,
But that was a
tedious.
2-story, right?
it was 2-story.
And I think
But
we're
What if
addressing that.
what if the famous architect said, I want to put a 1-story, you know? So anyway,
Right.
it's
So,
it's
okay.
done. We're recommending taking that out. Okay.
Yep, got it. So then, one of the commissioners at, you know, what else do you think you need in the table? So I had mentioned at the meeting, your driveway setbacks. So your code requires a minimum 30 inches from the side property
Yes.
line to the driveway surface, no matter what it is. So I just put that in. I think that's important to have in here. So 2.5, keep it in feet. And then the last thing is your landscape requirement. Again, as we discussed, I think it's important, to take the pressure off of you all. An applicant has to abide by the county code. And they have to affirm that they're in, compliance with that code.
My question about this, and I understand that that's our code and you're just making it more explicit, but under what circumstances are we asking them to comply with the Miami-Dade County Landscape Code, right? New construction that's ground up, or someone who comes in and they're doing a little master bedroom addition on their house and adding 100 square feet. And then we're gonna say, oh, you're doing a renovation, you gotta update your lands. I mean, we need to define when this landscape code needs to be.
When it triggers.
Yeah. And I don't know how the best way to do that, but I think we view it as you're demoing the whole site and putting up a new building, you need to re-landscape it, but
Right.
not defined that way necessarily by the table, right?
Right, but that's all, there's some exemptions in the county code. That's why I'm big on referencing other codes, because when they change it, you don't have to worry about changing it.
So we're gonna be looking at.
So does
landscaping code.
Does the county code have its own mechanism from when it requires you to do X, Y, or Z?
Yes, and what I keep on saying is any applicant has to affirm, and there's actually a landscape legend that they have to put on their landscape plans. It calls out exactly what you need, how many trees. And I said, I talked about sod, the maximum permitted is 35%. So, and then the landscape architect or the applicant has to affirm that they've complied with these regulations. So it's just a table. So it's very easy for you to see. So that's why I'm saying it's important that they review that code, and on landscape plans have that chart.
It doesn't work when 50% has to be.
I'm sorry?
I was just sitting there and saying, okay, if minimum 50% is supposed to be undeveloped open space or whatever, then there's lots of lots where having maximum 35% sod. It's like you want the difference to be in dirt, because the way that the people's yards are, they don't have that much other.
Well, there's a shrubbery requirement, a tree requirement, palm tree maximums. I guess it's shrubs, sod. So it's all laid out in the code.
Let's get to the landscaping next meeting when we talk about landscaping, but are we
Yeah,
okay
just,
with the
if anyone's
landscaper?
interested, going into Muni Code, chapters 18A of the county code, and
It's on our agenda next week, so we're gonna be talking about landscaping, so.
Do we want to put it in the notes? Because we've got 7 notes. Maybe we could add the 8th note that the landscape requirements are applied for new construction. I don't know, or what do we want?
Yeah, I would just ask because I know there's a big deal of properties that aren't in compliance. And so if the idea is to catch the village up on that, because it's not just, do you have the 3 trees on your property? It's also how much you plant within the right of way, which is also required within that code. So if it's only for new construction, we're never really going to catch up, right? So I think there's got to be a balance between where, if it's something on the outside, an addition to the house, an extra pool, whatever the case may be, and what the county code states, then I think that's where we got to try to find that balance.
I mean, should we go into what we talked about where, if the current structure is altered more than 50% as determined by the planning board, then the current county code must be adhered to, something along the 50, we kind of held that 50%.
I think
line.
that's a good spot, because I agree
Right.
with Ed that
and
if
make that
somebody,
number 8, like Scarlett said,
if somebody made like a little small adjustment to the thing, and then we're going to come and drop the hammer on them, that seems a little harsh.
Right.
The other that my question was an administrative one, which is, if chapter 18A gets changed at the county level, what's our process for how we become aware and / get updated for that if we're now referencing an outside?
Well,
we're
in
actually getting ready
theory,
to.
Well, in theory, if there's a code amendment at Miami-Dade County, and they're pretty good at this, I'm hoping they submit this stuff to you. Anytime there's a county code change that impacts municipalities, there's a process whereby they send the code amendments to the municipalities.
Correct.
This is countywide, so it affects.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry?
I was just asking, so basically you would just send it to us saying, hey, this changed in 18A.
Correct.
Okay.
And one of the things that we would do is require an affidavit from the homeowner or the contractor saying this meets XYZ, so that,
Right.
and you know, we can even prescribe, tell us where on your survey and what the species is, so that it's very easy to be able to say, yep, this actually meets it, and we're not looking through documents and documents to see, because
Right.
the approved species is like 50 pages long.
But let me ask me this,
So-
let me make we're getting ready to look at an actual landscaping code for ourselves. So we actually will codify the county code into our code.
That's
So
what I'm
if-
saying,
so-
no,
so-
don't do
so-
it. Don't,
So if the
don't do
code,
it.
so if the
Right.
county does make a change, we've already codified it in ours, so we have to change our codified to match
Right.
the county.
Right, so, and I just want to point out, I'm looking at the county code now, I can't look at everything, but and what Mario just said about an affidavit, it's preparer's certification of landscape compliance. That's that legend I was talking about, they have to sign off, there's a sheet, and it's a certification.
You're
So,
saying we should keep it, we should not have our own landscaping, we should just
no.
reference the county and make it the county.
Correct. Let them change it and then you live with it and said, you know, like I said, if they change something and then you don't know about it, then your code is out of date, you know,
Okay.
so. That's
All
why
right,
I
don't-
recommend just, you know, referencing the county code, let them deal with it, let them
Okay.
create it, and then you know, get this affidavit or the certification and, you know. And
So
then
then
that's
you,
what
then
you're done.
they're gonna have to make that argument at the next commission meeting, because I think the commission wants to bring the code into our code.
Right, and that's one of the things that I explained to some of the commissioners, is that part of this McMansion is referencing 18A and adopting it that without trying to bring it completely in. Now, they might want to bring it out to be able to talk about what this means, all the trees and all that kind of stuff, but trying to do it in a way where it's just referencing the Miami-Dade code and not a full adaptation of that. Now, even 18, looking at it, gives us various enforcement capabilities. So we don't need to codify every word within Miami-Dade County code into ours. I think we just need to better reference it, and that's been adopted to be followed.
Right, and just an example, this is why I caution everyone. A municipality not that far from you did not change a section of their code. Miami-Dade County changed their code in 1997. This municipality still has something that's 25 years old. Okay, so that's what I don't want to see. Because you're just not in compliance then with the regulations. So, you know, don't make it more difficult on yourselves by trying to get something in your code. I mean, that's just my expert opinion from, you know, from doing this for many years. Because codes do change and you have no control over certain things.
I totally
So-
agree. So, okay.
So, anyway,
So
so,
we'll add something on number 8, like make a number 8 saying something about 50% alteration to the structures will, you need to come into compliance with the current, with 18A of the county code or something like that.
I have one more comment before we leave the table. Alex, could we add a street side setback to the setbacks? 'Cause we have it in the graphics, but it's not in our table.
street,
Yeah, she's a good point, is that we talk about setbacks, street property line 50, 30, 30, but you're saying that it should say street
Side setback,
side front setbacks.
side setback.
so like a side street setback, so it's a street property line, which is your front, right?
Yeah.
Right.
which I'm gonna put that in paren. That's just the way paren, it's gonna be street property line front, the rear setback, the side setback, and then the side street setback,
Right.
which is.
It'll
is
be
it
the same
15?
exact same
30,
Side street setback is 30?
30,
and 50.
and 50.
Right. It's whatever the front is, it's the same as the on the side.
Oh, okay, so why don't I just say instead of street, why don't I say front and side street setback? Front and side street.
Yeah.
Okay, that's easier. Front and side streets. Okay, and that's 50, 30, 30, 30. Then we have the rear and the sides. Okay, got it. So then footnote number 8. Alterations exceeding 50%. Is it of the value? How do you all do the 50% rule?
Ed?
Reasonable value. Yes, we use reasonable value.
The. Okay, so alterations exceeding 50% of the reasonable value of. Is it the existing structure?
Yes.
Or new development shall require, I'm writing this out so we could all agree on it, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so number 8, what I've written so far is alterations exceeding 50% of the reasonable value of the existing structure, comma, or new development shall require compliance with chapter 18A.
I agree.
Okay. So then that'll be highlighted in yellow, change, okay, perfect. So then I think that that's a really good fix for that.
Okay.
Okay. And then no changes to the diagrams, but in,
Wait, can we, yeah, can we discuss 7?
okay,
What, hold on, what?
We skipped over 7, this whole concept of.
Oh, okay.
Analyzing.
oh, I'm sorry,
Calculating
I was
multiple-
looking, I was writing and not paying attention, so in number 7, and I had mentioned it before, the one commissioner asked to look at the numbers, so and again, as I explained, if you have your setbacks if you're on one lot, but if you combine 2 lots, I was recommending, in the case of the rear setback, if it's 10 feet rear setback, well, if you're going to go up to 2 lots, then you've got to increase it to 12 to 15, I'm sorry. And then if you go to 3 lots, you have to double it to 20 feet. So,
I mean, I don't think I have a problem with these, but I just don't, again, this is one of those looking for problems where I don't think we've ever had anybody combine lots the entire time.
Yeah, I mean, we spend our time worrying about people.
More people are splitting the lots up to make more money, so.
I know,
Um,
but the McMansion thing, that's why we're going this, so.
But,
I mean-
we have, again, you have 1 lot or 2 lots. We have 50% lot coverage rules. We have maximum height rules. Like, what does it matter if I have 2 lots that I should have a more additional setback than my neighbor who has, like, why? What would be the reason? I'm not allowed to go any taller than my neighbor, so why should I be set back further just because I've.
Right, I mean, this is just something I suggested to, and if you recommend it comes out, that's the recommendation of you all.
I just think.
And then they decide if they like it or not, that's how it'll work.
Again, I think that we have like our little rules and our harmonious and all that stuff so that we
I couldn't hear.
Sorry. Cliff Notes is, I think that we have the other tools like Harmonious and all that fun stuff to try and protect neighbors if we think that it's gonna be punitive towards the neighbors around anybody that did try and combine, even though we don't have.
So I guess the thought process of if somebody buys two 10,000 square foot lots that can be built, that each lot can be built on up to 5,000 square feet, that if they buy two, then you can build it up to 10,000 square feet. But it's double the lots. Huh. Oh, I kind of think this is one of those like solutions looking for a problem. But I also am like, I don't really care if it's there or not. You know, if somebody wants to put it in there to make it more,
If somebody super
Or-
cares, the only thing that I actually super care about this is removing the rear part. You want to make the side setback in a little bit further because, okay, you have a bunch of space and you don't want them too close to the neighbor, that's fine. But there's lots of lots here that have like rear utility easements or have weird trees and landscaping. And so if the person wants to put a pool and all of a sudden they have a 20-foot rear setback or something like that, like that to me, again, we won't let them build that close to the back line anyways because of the tools that we have. But
so you make a really good point, the distinction between the main structure and an accessory structure.
And again, it's one of these things that has someone actually studied every pair. I mean, because our lots are very different configurations. I might combine two that are not particularly deep, but they might be wide, but now I have this major rear setback penalty. Like, I just feel like this doesn't, we just throw something out there because it sounds great, but we don't.
Well, okay, so if you look at a lot of codes like Miami-Dade County, I'm gonna go back to that. You know, they have, the small lots, they go down to 3,500 square feet, but forget those. Let's start at the 7,500 square foot lots, or then we go to the 15,000 square foot lots at the county. Then they're half acre. When you get, and this is the way it's set up at the county, the zoning districts require more, greater setbacks when the lots are larger. I mean, that's just the way they're set up. So that's kind of my thought process in that. But if you don't think it's worth the effort, then we recommend that it goes away.
I personally recommend it going away.
yeah, I would vote for 7 being strike.
I'm neutral,
Oh,
Okay, I agree. Huh? You're neutral?
neutral.
I would agree with striking 7.
okay,
board.
so
Planning
easy.
board does not recommend number 7.
Okay, that's going to be in yellow and it's going to be stricken through.
Okay.
POPA.
Because there's, again, it's no definition between structure and accessory structure. And David made a good point. You know, somebody wants to put a pool, now all of a sudden the pool has to be far at their end and, et cetera.
Okay, it was just an idea to address the larger lot, so that, it's just, like I said, it's gonna be stricken through. It's recommended for deletion.
The diagrams haven't changed, right, since previous iterations?
I'm sorry?
The diagrams, they haven't been changed, right?
No,
Since
not
previous
at
versions.
all.
Okay. Okay, we're good on the diagrams, page 7, page 8.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the 10.32C for the air conditioning thing.
Yeah, so this is kind of redundant, but I was asked, so, your code now says no air conditioning or other ductwork shall be visible on any roof from the first level. So I added that next sentence based on the comments about the ductwork. I don't know if,
To me, it's okay, if you can't see it, then it doesn't need to be screened additionally.
Right.
And if you have a blower that's on a roof, you don't want to put a screen next to it because then it doesn't work as well.
But we don't want to see air conditioning units sitting on top.
Yeah, but the first sentence says that you can't see it.
No, you would be able to see if you're on a 2-story level and your neighbor is it was 1 story. You could look down on it.
right, but that's from the first level, so that, right, you're correct if you're on the second, but this is just saying that street level or, your first floor, you can't.
Right. You
So-
can't see it from the first level, but if you have a 2-story and your neighbor is 1
Yes.
story, you could see it.
Yep.
And this is saying you have to screen it from,
Well, I mean,
Everything.
frankly, my thought there is, okay, the person that is already looking down on the other person's roof, that's kind of on you to begin with, but the fact of the matter is you're literally making air conditioning less efficient when you try and box in blowers like that, which is
Right,
why
that's
you
why you-
don't see it in commercial buildings ever or anything like
Well,
that.
no, you do actually, right? I
do.
mean, in
There's
Miami, city of
lots of-
Miami, you have to
yeah.
have screens around rooftop equipment, right?
Right, there's
It's
lots-
louvered. It's usually louvered the opposite direction so that from below you don't see it. It's not like
Yeah.
boxed in 100%. It's just screened on the sides.
But
right?
those are also much bigger on much bigger rooftops.
No, I agree, but I don't know. Personally, this I think is a good practice. If anyone's, I don't think many people are putting air conditioning units on the roof here, and
Yeah.
unless it's a modern flat roof with big parapets. But I think if they are, I don't think asking them to screen them is an honor.
That's why I asked you about the generator, because I was like, oh, maybe somebody would put a generator on a flat roof if they didn't want to put the generator in the backyard, but I don't know if generators can.
No, they could. I mean, so it could also just say any rooftop equipment, right? And not
Yeah, I think it should be,
It's air conditioning.
that's what I was just thinking is like, it should be other mechanical ductwork and not just limited to air conditioning. It should be any type of mechanical.
Well,
machinery.
or electrical, because what, you know, they
Yeah,
refer
what
to a
I-
generator on your roof, for example.
Yeah, I think we'd want to stop that, but,
Or I say, or other ductwork. So I mean, but if you think this is redundant, it comes out. If you want me to tweak the sentence, tell me what, you think.
To me, I just think that it could be punitive to the way that the machinery may be supposed to work in a residential application.
it's the way that it's always been. This is our code from,
Day one,
from day one. It's not like it's something new.
right?
This is something that's already been in there. So
Well, it'll add to the cost of the project, that's for sure, but
what's that, Scarlett?
it'll add to the cost of the project if you have to do additional screening. Makes it more expensive.
But it just makes it like, hey, architect, come up with something creative. The
Right.
way you got to run your ductwork. You just can't just run it across and drop it down into a room.
Right, which is again your design review board function, and I won't want to see the ductwork like the old style. You see all these pipes and
Metal
whatever.
things, yeah.
So I mean, but do you think that second sentence should just come out and we'll recommend that it's not needed, or what do you want me to change it to say all rooftop equipment?
Well, people are starting to put solar panels on their roofs now.
The thing is,
So is that all rooftop equipment?
so the thing is, we used to use this as this was our, what we used to use to limit, to control solar panels. Because we considered it a mechanical type, that was the intent. Now, we obviously are a lot more liberal on solar panels.
Yay.
We still don't like to see them, but it's the way it is right now. That's the way our world is going.
Right,
But,
but I don't think you can regulate the placement of solar panels anymore.
We can, the way it's written, it's like they can be on the southwest and east side but the planning board can kind of request locations of it. We can't say no, but we also can say, hey,
Right.
maybe you should put all your panels over on the west side with all this flat roof you have over here instead of on the front side,
Right.
But that's not what this line is addressing. Personally, I think I don't see the thing with the first line. Because it does say from the ground, so that doesn't limit people from doing it on the front. It just says that you can, if you did it far enough in the back of the house or in the middle of the house where you can't see it from the ground, you're allowed to have it. It's the way it was, but I would love to see something that says other mechanical ductwork or other, kind of expand it a little bit so that it covers any other type of thing that might.
So no air. Okay, but we're agreeing that the what I have in green, the second sentence should just come out, and maybe we could tweak the first.
Yeah, what if it
Sentence?
just said, what if it just said no air conditioning or mechanical ductwork? Wouldn't that be the same thing, Ed? Or mechanical ductwork instead of other, it would just be mechanical.
Why are we limited to mechanic? I mean, say that, but again, what is it you're trying to prevent? Because like a generator is not mechanical ductwork, it's an electrical component, right? So what is it? I mean, why don't we don't want to just say equipment because now that encompasses solar panels, or
Yeah, we're
Because
gonna- we're
typically
gonna
the codes just say rooftop equipment shall not be visible or screened. And that-
Let's change that.
So, okay, so why don't we just say no rooftop equipment shall be visible on
We
any
could
roof?
also say excluding solar panels, so
Wait,
that
hold on,
way
let me-
we're not telling people they need to screen their solar panels.
That wouldn't work.
Okay, so no. Okay, so no rooftop equipment,
Comma, excluding solar panels. comma.
equipment.
Oh, I don't know if I
excluding-
agree with that.
Huh?
I
Okay,
don't-
so,
I-
but, okay, so you tell
I don't
me,
like, I don't like using the word excluding thing. I mean, if anything, let's just go back and leave it the way it is and just say no air conditioning. You know, if it's one of those, if it wasn't broke in the first place, then why are we tweaking it?
Yeah, I mean, what prompted the?
Why is
additional
this being
language?
changed in the
Did
first
someone
place?
ask for that or?
the commissioner asked me to,
Okay.
that's why, so that's the reason for a
Look,
lot of this.
back,
stuff. So-
I'm neutral. If you want to add that sentence in green, doesn't give me any heartache, like. You know, screen means a lot of things.
I agree. So let's just say, okay, if it's gonna make somebody happy, the green,
throw the
I vote for the
commissioner's
green. Let's go for the green. Because it basically says all rooftop air conditioning or ductwork shall be.
Yeah, we're cool with that one
Yeah.
if they'll drop the punitive setbacks.
I actually would rather say something like shall be
Horse trade.
screened so not seen from the ground. I mean, if you have somebody that has a air conditioning smack dab in the middle of a second story flat roof that's never going to be seen from the street, but we're saying here now it has to be screened. I still think that it shall be screened so not visible from the ground.
Fine with that too.
But I think you all, aren't you guys the one who had me change it from ground to first level to match the, I think you in May.
Is that us?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, I mean, ground, first level.
Then
that's
first
fine.
level.
Yeah,
From the,
So-
we just mean that
Shall
we
be
don't mean
screened-
screen from every possible vantage, just screen from first level.
Okay, so,
shall be
So-
screened from visibility on any roof or ground.
We're getting back to the first sentence.
Yeah, we're getting right back to where we were at. And so,
right,
You know what? Damn the commissioners, strike it. We don't like it. Get rid
okay,
of it.
that's, yeah, I mean, this is your recommendation. so
Redundant and
fine.
unnecessary. We had
for
it
the
covered.
green,
with-
just leave it the way we had it in the first
Was
recommendation.
it
first
redundant? I
level.
thought it was a little redundant, so that's why I told you that, so.
We agree.
Yeah,
We
you
agree.
started-
It's redundant. Let's move on.
You
Okay,
started
so
embarrassed to say the sentence.
rec-
out loud.
Recommendation.
Okay, there was a question on. Do we have to define? I don't think this is a necessary question. On 10.3.1, which will harmonize and blend in with other buildings in the area.
Yeah, I mean, this is your existing code, so nothing,
Define buildings in the area, the block or all of BP, or this isn't arbitrary, BP is small enough.
Are those your notes?
No, it's somebody's notes that was sent to me that I should be
That's
considering.
why I was wondering, I was like.
oh, no, this is, you're questioning what is the area? That's the note, right?
Again, I think this has been something that we've handled and we don't need to define.
Okay.
So I think we're fine with that. So we're,
So then the only other changes at the last page, again. Under 10.5, your landscape design, this is where I put, because your landscape design only addressed the public areas, right? So I added the 10.5.2 to
Uh-huh.
address the, residential lots.
hold on, are we on 10.3.3? Did we jump past all that?
And
Oh, well, there was no change from
changed in 10.3.3.
from the May, August, September, nothing's changed in there. So sorry, yeah, if you need to look at it again,
Okay. Oh, there was one, and I kind of agree. I actually wrote it before I even read this was,
Read into the-
Huh? no, it's just, it's my own notes, I guess, whatever. Was there any type of, I don't know, because we did discuss it at some point, third story decks.
Rooftop deck.
Rooftop decks, is that addressed in here?
No. Because I didn't, I know we discussed it, but I thought there was, just prohibition.
So there should be no third floor.
Yeah, they have 35 feet now plus harmonious. Get the hell out of here.
I don't.
I mean, I'm
What if somebody has a
okay
30-foot
with
deck?
adding it to make it clear that we don't want, I don't know how you define it, because the first floor roof deck, we're okay with, right? If they have a two-story house and they want a deck off master or whatever. So it's really a second floor roof occupied deck we don't want. We don't want someone having a roof deck at 30 feet. Correct?
That would not be harmonious.
I mean, is that? what-
Second floor roof decks are prohibited. That you're saying.
Simple. I mean,
Like,
that's the general, I don't really care if we have that, but. That's.
I mean, we're going through all this thing to try and have privacy for people, and then we're gonna say, okay, if you want to have a roof deck and just stand there and look over your neighbor's house, then you could do
I
that.
could have a roof deck because I want to sunbathe nude and I'm gonna have 6-foot parapet walls, but none of your business what I'm doing on my roof too, right? So I think it's about the design, not the roof deck or no roof deck, right? You can have a roof deck that is screened with full height walls and looking in your backyard. So to me, I'm okay with it. It's a design issue, not just prohibit it outright. But anyways, I'm also fine with you prohibiting it outright.
'Cause you could provide that same, what you're looking to do on a first floor roof deck.
Good, you're right.
Yeah.
But then my second floor neighbors look when I'm sunbathing.
That's where you have those privacy walls that you're discussing, those parapets.
he's been looking, damn.
Fortunately, I do not, so.
I mean, we even have balconies shall not be allowed on facades facing an interior side frontage. So like,
But I feel like that's something.
Yeah, that
is
makes
much
sense. That's
more
a
likely
balcony.
to have.
if you can't have a balcony here, but right above the balcony is a roof deck that does the exact same thing.
Yeah, but a balcony typically doesn't have a full height wall that would screen your view. It's a balcony you're looking over. So a terrace could actually be properly screened
Oh.
if someone just wanted that space on their roof. If they wanted a green roof and they wanted to do gardening on their roof, like, do I care if they properly screening it? So again,
I don't know. I just think that
things that we could address based on the design of that proposed roof terrace versus just saying.
Well, here's the thing, we're saying that we only allow 2 stories, but then we're saying, okay, well, you can have a de facto 3rd story roof deck. So is a roof deck considered a 3rd story, even though it doesn't have a roof on it?
Other municipalities, you have 2 stories and they allow roof decks, not a story. Story is a air conditioned
When's
space.
the last time we had somebody try and put a roof deck on the top?
But, okay, so there's two
Here's the thing,
things.
we're-
Like, can
So
we-
if say your first level is bigger, a roof deck could be on the second level too, right? It could be over a flat, you have a family or a sunroom or something, you could have a larger roof deck, which is not a balcony, it's just a deck, right? And then, which is not really an issue. But the 3rd floor, you could you just say no roof decks allowed, or which again is your design. But it doesn't become a floor until they add, say, an elevator, or something that gets you up there, which is roofed. So,
But even the 2nd story decks, I'm sorry to interrupt. Even the 2nd story decks, we want to dictate it so that you can't have a 2nd story deck that overlooks a neighbor.
I agree.
So if you want to have any roof, so if you want to limit it, just say roof decks shall be designed so they do not overlook.
Perfect. Then you can have it on your 3rd floor.
3rd floor, 2nd floor, 1st floor.
That's,
Yeah.
I like that.
Okay.
So
So,
what we care
but
about
in
is
some
privacy,
cities, I don't know if I mentioned it to you all, or if this was another, meeting, in some cities, like in Miami Beach, you can't have, if you do have a 3rd floor deck, it can't be flush with the walls, it has to be set back in, so
setback
you
from the
can't, see over.
but the point being is if we just say something like roof deck shall be designed as to not overlook neighboring properties, then that would give us the tool to go, okay, come back and say, hey, your roof deck is like, you're right.
That's the best way to handle it because it doesn't hamstring any possible design. And the intent that we care about is privacy, not whether someone is enjoying a roof terrace on their 2nd.
Okay, so is that okay, Alex? We can add
Well,
something in.
okay, I'm writing this out again, so then we could discuss it. because I want to make sure the wording is okay. Roof deck shall be designed.
Yeah, where you are, yeah.
It'd be number 5, probably.
Right, it's gonna be a number 5. Be designed in the- Roof deck shall be designed in such a
saying
manner.
that my brother's house, I'll just build a zip line from my
Could
house.
someone repeat like one of the last, because what I'm getting stuck at, I'm saying roof deck shall be designed in such a manner that, and then you had a wording about privacy or something, someone mentioned something?
Does not overlook.
Well, I mean, you have a definition for clear story, right? That a window above eye level designed to allow light and air without compromising privacy. Can't we use something similar that, you know, any roof terrace shall be designed such that it does not compromise privacy? I don't know.
Let me look at the definition, that's a good, okay. Does not compromise privacy. Roof deck shall be designed in such a manner that does not compromise privacy
Surrounding properties.
of surrounding properties.
Yeah, well, so in the
And
clear
about
story, in the clear story definition, I was gonna ask the same thing, like whose privacy is that definition for? The people in, people out? I guess both, right? But. So then the same thing would apply to a
So,
terrace, right? It's
so I'm gonna say not,
privacy.
does not compromise privacy
So you have adjacent
of abutting,
properties.
of abutting neighbors, of abutting properties.
Yeah.
Okay, new. Okay. So then that takes care of roof decks.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. 4 building.
and then was there any other, or were there any other questions or comments in that section?
1 second, Gage is consulting.
No, that's fine. But I mean, I'm trying to think of my own questions, not just somebody else's questions. But I mean, but I actually did write that down. So anyway, the roof decks were a concern.
Yeah, sometimes, you know, sometimes you maybe want to be silent on certain things, so, you know.
Yeah,
If it's in the code, then you have to address it.
yeah.
So, anyway, so the only other change in 10 was, I was starting to say it was in the landscape section. Landscape design, you know, you talk about the landscaping in public areas, your streets, your medians and all that, but there was nothing addressing, you know, private property. So that's why, you know, we added the 10.5.2 addressing, you know, landscape
Yeah, makes sense.
and relating to chapter 18A again.
So just so that we cover this, because it's, the thing is you're going to be talking about these things. I'm sorry, I know you went ahead, but I'm still kind of far back a little bit.
Okay.
Does the board have any desire to change these styles? Because it's going to come back to him. So we might as well talk about it. So we can say the board here. Does the board have any desire to change the style of homes that are allowed to have metal roofs? Other than what, to what,
And that's harmonious. I don't think that's
No,
something.
no, but
that-
Oh.
there's a list of definitions.
there's a list of definitions.
It's pretty broad, though. That's
So-
that list. I mean, what,
But constructive, high modern, post-war modern, ranch or Key West architectural style or variation.
what would, other than like, what do we have besides those? Like mission style, you're not putting a metal roof on those, so like,
No.
I'm trying to think what's not being captured by that.
No,
list.
I think the idea here was actually limit and get rid of some of the houses and only limit the metal roofs to like Key, it says here Key West style. Okay, so we're all good the way it is. So there's no changes there. Number F, this needs to be tightened up. We are doing something about asphalt shingles at a different time, right?
You already have, and that's going in front of the commission for
Okay,
discussion.
yeah, we've already had something, but it's, okay, so we don't have to worry about that. And then and then add 50% rule. No changes on that. No, it's like,
Is it like a shadow?
No, no.
We're not following.
well, no, I mean, because here's the thing. I know what's going to happen is this conversation is going to be had with him during the commission meeting. And at least we can say, the planning board said, we don't want to address any of these things. We're good with the way the roofing code is right now. So
Right, and that was not my scope, whatever other changes you're making, it's on a separate trajectory, I guess,
Yeah.
so.
yeah. So, okay. So landscaping.
To our point earlier, it's not like any of this is coming back to us again ever anyways. It's just going commission and hire.
Yeah, but what Gage is saying is that certain commissioners are gonna present those questions to the planning agency, and so. Gage-
They're going to go, what does the planning board say? What is the planning board's opinion?
To be able to speak on our behalf that we don't.
Which is why the next item came back.
And that's why we're saying, we don't want to make any changes to the roofing code. It's good the way it is. So let's leave it the way it is.
But I have a question. Are you holistically looking at the LDRs because there's so many changes that need to be done? I mean,
No.
No, we're here to talk about McMansions and that's really what it is. But
Come up with a different, like, it's a little bit of.
no, I hate the word McMansion, but I'm only using it.
Must be, but it's like even in the agenda, it was called that. Like, there's got to be
It's okay. It's called that in
more
all the emails
professional
that goes-
term.
Well, it's building form right here, professional, single-family residential building form. But it's actually to address all family residential,
Yeah,
Alex.
it's land development, but
to
again,
address single and.
to the layman, they understand it as McMansion because it's such a big building now, and that's kind of been the buzzword that's been used. So it's like to layman's translation.
I have to,
when it's in the ordinance form, when it goes forward, it will not be McMansions in your ordinance, okay? I guarantee you, it'll be some other wording.
You have to leave soon?
soon. So I don't know what we need to still do quorum wise, but I have like a one. and a
Well, we have
half year
quorum
old
without
kid.
you.
Oh, okay. so
Yeah.
you-
We still have three. We still have three quorum.
Okay.
Alex, are you done with this?
I'd like to know.
I'm
that.
done, and so, we need
It's just
to.
MC, but our agenda has it Mac Mansion. I don't know if that's.
Did it actually say
It's
that?
a little bit of a.
Does it actually say that?
Yeah, so I don't know if that's a little
Oh, how funny is
old
that?
reference, but.
Okay, so just to wrap
You
up.
go
my question-
SB. I love it.
So you need to wrap this up by saying, making a motion to approve with the amendments, that we've discussed. So then I could, that's going to be your recommendation to the commission. So that'll be your formal recommendation with, the changes as we discussed. Then I'll work on these documents to get them, back to you. So then they could be scheduled for.
Do it.
Okay.
Okay.
You want
Can I make a motion?
Motion to approve the changes as discussed.
Okay.
second?
Is yours?
Ed, Scarlett and Ed, and then all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so all the recommendations are.
Yes, and I will put them together
you,
hopefully
Alex.
tomorrow morning and get them out.
Thank you, Alex.
All right, have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you, Alex.
Good evening.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care.
With regards to the next item, which is discussion of Sector C, I do appreciate that the board took the time last year to really think through it. However, because I know the commission, I've brought it back to you all. They're going to ask, what's the actual recommendation? Because the memo and what you all ended up discussing was, here's the problem, which I think the memo does describe it. Here are some questions that we think should be addressed. And yes, we think the commission should address it. They're going to say, yeah, but so is the planning board recommending eliminating Sector C, yes or no, or, make changes to the Sector C? What's the actual recommendation? So if we can potentially narrow that down, then the commission can actually be discussing, hey, They want to increase the lot size from 6,000 to 85. They want to eliminate duplexes moving forward or any of that. Then they can actually have those discussions on what that is. Right now, the memo is, I guess, a little too broad. And this conversation will go in so many different directions that nothing, I don't think will really move forward. So
Okay. So can I ask, is there a time due on this?
there is not.
Can we table this for another meeting because it is 9:12
Absolutely.
and we still have to finish our other agenda? So.
Okay.
Are we good with that? Let's table it for either next meeting or the meeting after. And we just have that discussion at that time.
Okay.
All right. And then let's finish up the agenda. And David, if you have to leave, then go ahead.
I think he already signed off. Oh,
Yeah.
that David. Yeah.
How many?
Congratulations.
How many more?
Well, we have our agenda. We have to finish our planning board agenda.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, how many more ones did we not do? Like 3 or 4? Or
It's a lot. It's 1, 2, 3, 4,
Like-
5, 6, 7,
Yeah.
8, 9, 10,
Unfortunately,
11.
yeah. So, because my wife can't pick up.
Okay.
As much as my other kid. and my
All right.
other
Your excuse. Have a good night. Thank you.
Real baby, you shouldn't have come at all.
Okay.
First of all, when my baby's 4 days old, I won't be here. I'll tell you in
I
advance.
thought I
So,
needed to be here for it to be
Yeah.
quorum, so I was like, all right. if you need me, I'll be
actually,
there.
I think you just wanted to get out of the house for a couple hours after 4 days. But
All right. So we're going back to our planning board meeting. Let's get up to the top. Do we have minutes? I don't see minutes anywhere.
Yeah, they were
yeah, minutes are here.
David, thank you. Good luck. Okay. It was behind. I'm sorry. Let me just look. It was just last week, right?
Yep. You're looking for your notes or a hard copy? Because we have hard copies.
No, I take a picture of my handwriting.
Of your note, you're looking for your notes.
Time?
Yeah, yeah.
So
I just noticed that D and E roots, I thought we had tabled both of those and it says denied.
D and E
Yeah, roots,
roots.
renovation and temporary construction fence.
Well, the thing is, we had already denied it, so we weren't really actually. I mean, we had denied it previously and
I
they,
remember we were like, do we?
yeah, but the thing is, what they,
The denial in place.
yeah, the denial's in place.
Okay.
so
But it
there's
wasn't
no-
Really voted on at that, I mean, it's like.
Yeah, so it should actually just be,
So that's-
it says denial comments remained. So we didn't vote there, but we should just put no vote.
Yeah, exactly.
So we had already voted to deny it, so we just didn't make, there was no votes made. Just the denial remained, have already remained.
Okay, so unless you have comments, Gage, I'd make a motion to approve.
Then I'm good with
slightly
you.
amended.
Okay,
second.
all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Here's the minutes, sign. Okay. All right, so next is, we did that. David Gruen left the meeting, by the way. So it's now 3-0 approved. Next is Soto, 515 Northeast 115th Street, solar panels,
May not agree. Sorry.
old business A.
Yep. I think we wanted them to be here to discuss, right? That was the whole intent because
That's right over here.
yeah, we felt like they maybe didn't need to have so many on the front. We don't want to have that discussion, but they're still not here. So
Right, and they still have them on the front.
So the table remains? So-
Yes.
So make a motion to, well, you don't need one, right? It's just, we're tabling it.
Well, it's on here, so let's just make a
Okay,
motion.
make a motion to table.
Second.
Charlotte, second, all in favor, say aye, 3-0 table. Like an airplane going over. Okay, building, old business, new building, I'm sorry, building permits A, Mullen, 528 Northeast 21st Street for paint.
It's a gray and a gray, right? Darker gray and a lighter gray. Cotton balls and raccoon fur. That's what it is. I'm not making it up.
I don't have a original copy here.
They're pretty neutral grays.
I saw a red. Oh, no, sorry.
No.
The background.
Their wall color is white cotton balls, their door is white, and their trim is gravel gray. And this is this mission house that had the fire.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
Motion to approve?
second.
Everybody say aye, aye.
Aye.
Approved. Building C, Finelli, 741 Northeast 116th Street for a fence.
Board on board, it's a gate on one side of the house and a fence down the property line of the other.
Fine,
Sorry, gate on both sides.
both sides,
Yeah.
not in front of the house.
Yep.
6 foot high, wood, okay?
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor, say aye, aye. Motion carries, that was Ed and Scarlett.
Just gonna probably do the same order
Same order, okay.
every time.
Okay.
Keep this.
Next will be building E Lux or 940 Northeast 116th Street for a driveway.
Looks like they're keeping their asphalt, just making it concrete. Squares?
Are you getting any type
Where-
of special updates, manager updates? Are they, is it gonna get worse or for us?
We don't have all the calc.
Keeps tracking south a little bit, right?
Flying out of my international 11 a.m. tomorrow. So my question is, they're gonna need to change that.
I don't know.
They're not closing the airport. Please don't change close the airport. No calculations, so let's
Yeah, I have
just,
no calcs. I mean, it looks like they're literally replacing what's there with just asphalt to concrete, but you know,
table for more information.
table pending correct calculations.
Yeah, that was Ed and Scarlett, sorry.
Second.
Say aye, aye. Okay, so it's tabled. Rio tabled. Next, Miles H, 1130 Northeast 124th Street, solar panels.
All the roofs, but you know, the fewest are on the street facing roof at least.
So the question is why are they even on the north side of the roof? Because code actually, is that 11 foot? Cleans up over. Because the code, the state code actually says they may be allowed on the east, west, and south side of that roof. Not in it, here they're asking for it on the north.
And they have a lot. Full roof.
Question why need for the north. Unless they don't have, well, actually, they have a little bit of a roof right there. next to the flat roof.
Looking at the property or just the diagram?
But the thing is we've been allowing people that face the street to put them on the street side. We've been asking them to reduce the amount of that faces the street. So I think they kind of are doing what we've asked.
As I'm saying, they at least have the fewest on that
On the
roof
face
facing the
front.
street. Also, let's see.
I mean, by law, we could say no because it's on the north side, which state does not allow or does not dictate that it has to be on. But I think we've been allowing front facing. So I wouldn't have a problem with this.
Neither do I. Motion to approve.
All in favor, say aye, aye. Oh, I'm not signing these. Shoot. Not- Once again.
So I like this one because it actually has on the plan, it has also the key, like with the, you don't have to flip between the schedule and the plan like we usually do. And so you've got 1, 2, 3, 8, 7, and their front door and all horizontal.
Is this Dia Cares, 10740 Griffin Boulevard?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. All right. So it's building I.
Bronze with low E glass.
You want to make a motion? You check it out. Good. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, Fort 11001 Northeast 9th Avenue for windows.
Here
This was table.
be all in the back and skylight.
We all think about this one, Fort.
It appears to be everything in the back. I don't know if they did an addition like as a separate permit because it looks like almost an addition that they're doing the window part now for some skylights. So I mean, it's all in the back. It's windows and skylights on a flat roof addition in the back of the house.
Okay.
Motion approved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, motion carries. Fort. So next would be Ryan 11241 Northeast 9th Avenue, new roof, tile and flat.
Tile.
It's an addition, I believe, right?
Yeah, new
Yeah.
addition tile, new addition flat.
Does the new addition, are they redoing all of it?
No, existing not applicable.
We should just make a caveat that it's got to match. Typically, we ask for them to.
Let's see. There you are.
Santa Fe tile.
Yeah, it has the tile, it's an S tile, but doesn't have a color, so I can't even check Google Earth or whatever.
Oh, there's a color here.
Selected. I see a
I
chart.
see a whole bunch, but hold on, I don't see anything.
Yeah, there's a color chart, but nothing identified.
It's got a star next.
We get to choose.
Gage, we can either table or we can.
Let's just, can we just
Approval.
caveat approval that it must match existing?
So motion to approve, subject to new tile matching existing tile roof.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Existing, new tile must match existing roof. Lopez 11300 Griffin Boulevard, windows. Place 4 windows with impact size for sign. schedule.
Yeah, this one's a little less clear.
So it's a two-story house, it looks like.
No, I think it's a one-story house.
Well, then what's the second drawing?
Yeah, it says second story though, second floor. So it is
Yeah.
2 stories.
The windows that in question are on the second story, so what are the other windows on the first story? Is there any-
Oh, it's below.
I don't know what I'm looking at. Gabe.
Okay. You want to table it? Because I'm looking, I just pulled it up.
And there's no schedule. Don't we have like don't they need to submit like our stock handout leaflet with the schedule filled out and? I mean,
Can't even
it's,
see the
they're
house.
all marked.
You can't even see the house from the street.
They're all horizontal sliders. So, I mean, it just seems like it's a total of 4 windows on the second floor
We can't even see what the,
that are all
The house
horizontal
looks like.
sliders, but I don't know if it's the front of the house. Looks like the side of the house.
it looks like a single level home. But then if you look at the drop box, it looks like this is the first floor and that's the second floor. Table for more information. Like what are we looking at?
Yeah.
Like, we need to have pictures of the front of the house or something so that we can at least,
Yeah. From what I can gather, just it seems like it's only 4 windows. They're all horizontal sliders on the second floor on one side of the house. If you're facing the house, the left side, but it's a little strange.
I'm even going across the bridge and looking back. See if you can see it. Can't even see it.
You want a table or you want to caveat it that they have to match existing windows, or because clearly there are
I don't
other
even know what we're
windows.
voting on. It's like so.
Yeah. So a motion to table pending a schedule of openings, right?
What are the existing windows look like?
Window schedule and information about existing windows.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Carries, okay. Barrows, Building N, 1190 Griffin Boulevard, repair flat roof. That should be an easy one. As long as they have the product approval. Look at the schedule to make sure there's nothing else that. Diagram is a very interesting diagram. They couldn't fit it in a little box. That's interesting.
Did it to scale.
They couldn't have just turned it sideways. It's just something that's really funny. But it does look like it's all flat.
Yeah, it's just one very big flat roof with a lot of little
Angles.
angles and whatnot.
Motion, please.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, aye, aye. Okay, and then the final one, Davis, 12000 Northeast 11th Place, re-roof tile.
Not doing tile, so it's just
Re-roof flat. I'm sorry, re-roof flat, re-roof flat. And the schedule is see attached. Not doing tile, flat, 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 okay.
motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye, aye. Okay. Looks like we completed our agenda. Oh, hold on, I didn't sign these. Our next meeting would be this coming Monday.
I won't be here, Gage. I'll email SB.
Oh,
Give her a
I can't
notice.
make it either.
All right, so we gotta pray that we can get Manny and David here.
I'll be out of town, so I can't.
All right, just yeah, please, just email Espy and she's got to work on Thursday to make sure that we have quorum. Are you going to be out of town? Okay. All right, so if there's an issue with quorum, she's gonna have, we'll have to talk about.
Just start later.
That's a discussion. There was no vote signed. These are, all right, so our next meeting will be on October 3rd, whatever that is. 3rd, okay. Motion to adjourn, please. 9:32. Motion?
Second.
Okay, we're adjourned at 9:32.
Mix it up right at the end. Just an increased rain, not necessarily like winds. Yeah. And then I guess we keep getting, obviously.
So that was approved. That was tabled. This is our.
Front of the camera.